big too.
Yeah, Ravens getting theirs. It is wild that we are 8 weeks in and Ravens get their second win of the season.
Yeah, hopefully that trend continues and they're only able to win 2 out of every 8 games. Welcome back, everybody, to the Flag on the Play podcast with Billy and the Duke. I am the Duke, and you have just entered a death at a funeral situation, referencing specifically the Cincinnati Bengals, who are my team, and that's going to be a lot of what I talk about today. But before I do that, let me just send it over to Billy to say hi and be in brighter spirits. Billy?
Yeah, well, I am going to sing a little song for you. I don't think anybody that's a part of, watching this podcast, all 6 of you, if we're that high, I can't remember,
Gotta be
have been embraced. Yeah, have been embraced with my singing. And I'm just going to roll with it here real quick. And it's Choklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain. We are just going to probably be done with college football. I see your team got waxed this week, and basically mine did too. I know it was a less than a 10-point gap. When it comes crunch time, Oklahoma is notorious since 2000. It's been 25 fucking years. Since 2000, they find a way to choke. They've done it 2 weeks in a row with the starting quarterback back at the helm. I know it's Ole Miss. I know they're ranked, whatever. They're 7th now. Don't give a shit. They lost, so your preseason picks probably out the window. But yeah, other than that, on the flip side of things, yeah, extremely happy. Great week to be a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, I jumped on the Indiana Hoosiers bandwagon for college football probably about 2-3 weeks ago. But, rest in peace, Oklahoma. We hardly knew you.
Yep. It was good while it lasted. Dude, so crazy statistic in football this week. Last week, obviously, massive conspiracies that are absolutely probably proven somewhere in the history books. This week, history was made. The first time in 55 years, only one game was decided by one score. Unfortunately, that's one of the games we will be talking about this week in abundance, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I don't know, but all the other games were essentially blowouts.
Not a great weekend for football, to be honest. I mean, if you were on the winning side of any of the matchups, yes, great weekend to be
sure,
I guess. But if you were on the losing side or a neutral fan, there was really only one good game. And the rest of them were kind of boring.
Yeah, interesting game. I know, obviously,
interesting.
We'll get there. It didn't turn out in your favor, but it was the beginning of last night's game was pretty weird. I don't necessarily want to say good. We'll get there, but it started like it could be a good game and be very interesting. But the other one just back and forth, and
with 6 interceptions.
What you really want in football. Yeah, that's essentially what it felt like.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just get started.
Well, I do want to say before we
go ahead
get into any specific games, odd that all these gambling operations are getting shut down by the FBI, dude. And then the next week of football, it's just all blowouts, dude. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? Were they shaving points?
Gambling operations are like are we speaking on the basketball operations?
Yeah, but I think that sends ripples through all the sports. And I think all the NFL people who were like, shaving points and playing a little bit bad, they were like, oh fuck, we're not trying to go to prison.
Yeah, I mean, little suspicious if you ask me. Tell me about that a little bit. It's a little early in the season. My team is 4-0. I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. Looks like we're just headed straight back to back. I understand it's only week 4 and out of 75 or game 4 out of 7,500. But
I was gonna say week 4. Fuck, you played 36 games if it was week 4.
Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, Chauncey.
From what I am told, he was a previous player as well. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, he was the de facto star player or go-to player on the '04 Pistons finals team where they won the chip against the Lakers. Crazy, I think it was the Lakers. Kind of crazy thing to have happen throughout the thing. But so Chauncey was involved in there's 2 separate gambling things. So there's an illegal gambling ring that was like fixed card games where there was a rake being taken away from the game of basketball, right? So that's separate from the headlines of like the Terry Rozier news that broke.
And who does he play for? That's a player, correct?
Yeah, Terry Rozier is a player. He started his career his career launched with the Celtics, and then he was promptly traded to Charlotte to play for the Hornets, and then went to Miami, I do believe. I don't know if he had a stop in between. He might have that I'm not remembering, but I'm pretty sure it was Boston, Charlotte, Miami, and that's, he was a member of the Miami Heat when this all happened. So his thing, separate from the illegal card game, fixed game running, that was what the Chauncey Billups thing was. He was giving insider information to individuals who were placing large amounts of sports bets on props, player props. And so he would give them like, a heads up, like, hey, I'm going to take myself out of the game, Tuesday night or whatever. And they would like slam, like, I think the bet that they said was like 200 grand they put on his under statistics. So knowing that he was just going to take himself out of the game, they bet, large and won decently large. It wasn't that large though. It wasn't like, we're not talking about millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars, which is kind of weird to compromise yourself for that amount of money. I think that's the scuttlebutt, but I'm wondering if there's like some like under the table or behind the scenes like money gambling things that wasn't maybe on the books or through legitimate organizations. But yeah, so he basically like for no reason just would like, be like, hey, back spasm, taking myself out of the game, and all of his under props would hit, and these people who he gave this information to would obviously cash out on their bets.
Yeah, so it does make you wonder with the blowouts, and I mean, Kansas City still doesn't have a 100-yard receiver on the season. Some of these other players that we expect to go over end up shitting the bed sometimes. Like
Kansas City doesn't have a 100-yard receiver on the season. That one big Tyquan Thornton game wasn't 100. What, he caught like 2 bombs, didn't he? Wouldn't that feel like that?
Yeah, but I think he caught one, and then there was like a 20-yard. So it was like a 60 and an 80-yard. People, like, even last night, Travis Kelce got 99 on the dot.
He looked terrible. He looked very bad early, by the way. I don't know what that was, if he was just like cold hands or something, but
I think it's old man cold hands. I don't know. It's getting quite frustrating to see some of the stuff that he ends up doing week to week. But then he goes off the whole rest of the game. But it was
very
weird.
So it was the Jacksonville game. Tyquan had 90 yards.
Yeah, so guys keep getting close. Rashee Rice's first game back, I think, had 93, and then last night he even had 90.
Hollywood hasn't had any big games.
No, he's had some really cool catches, and by cool I mean they're like clutch time, like we needed that, but nothing like holy shit he's having the game of his life.
Yeah, and were these 83 max this season? Damn, dude, that's crazy to think about. I feel like there's probably not a lot of teams that can say that. Are they the only team? Do we know that?
I don't know that that's the case, but they're very big on everybody eats. And that's kind of where they're at, and they are showing it.
Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of Green Bay. Green Bay is what I was searching for there.
Yeah, just better in my opinion. Better talent. I think I'd like what Jordan Love's doing over there, and I like some of those guys, and we'll obviously talk about it for a bit. But Christian Watson being back for them is like Rasheed coming back for us, I guess. So there's some equals there, I guess.
That's just a crazy stat to think about. Mahomes is second in passing yards on the season, but no 100-yard receivers.
Yep. Yeah, pretty crazy. Where do we want to start? We want to start from the top?
We can start wherever you want, dude. I don't care.
Let's just start with the Vikings shit in the bed on Thursday night. What a terrible game there.
I don't think they shit the bed, dude. I think that they are just a fraudulent team. I don't think they were ever good.
Yeah, I mean, my hopes was they were going to win this. Just keep riding that terrible Carson Wentz train as it is. Be able to take out the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers have started to look kind of bad as time has gone on. They're doing what Chargers do.
I don't know if they look bad or they're just hurt. They seem like they're hurt more than bad.
Yeah, there was some injuries going on.
Some injuries, dude.
I try not to pay attention to these dog shit teams like the Chargers too much.
That's tough.
Who was injured on this team? I mean, the quarterback's there. Your receivers are there.
Starting two running backs are out. I believe they have some offensive line injuries.
Offensive line, I think, is correct. That will hurt you. It started to hurt us last night as well. But, yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert cooks in this game. Carson Wentz does not. Carson Wentz ends up going out. He's out for the season. So I assume J.J. Watt, they're going to try to be getting him back ASAP.
Yeah, so Joe Alt has an ankle injury. He might have played, but if he's playing injured. Jamari Caldwell, defensive tackle, was ill this past week, but that's not anything terrible. Austin, DeCellis, I don't know. One of their starting tackles has an ankle injury, as well as Joe Alt. So, but really, both of their starting tackles have ankle injuries. Troy Dye, linebacker, Hassan Haskins, hamstring. Kyle Leonard is an outside linebacker. He has a knee injury. It looks like he's out for indefinitely. Elijah Molden, defensive back. He has a thumb. He's listed as questionable. Trey Pipkins is a guard / tackle, and he also has a knee issue. And Jamari Salyer, also an offensive lineman, has a knee injury, and he's out indefinitely. So,
I mean, quite a bit of injuries, but
yeah, kind of wild.
No names.
And then not to mention Joe Alt. He is there.
Joe Alt is the only one that I.
But you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
A defensive tackle, linebacker, 2 linebackers, D tackle, and a DB. I mean, that's going to impact your team. I would say that they're playing pretty hurt. I mean, not that the Vikings aren't. The Vikings are also playing hurt, right? Like, CJ Ham is apparently out. I don't consider him an integral part of their team at all, but they have Brian O'Neill, who's an offensive tackle, JJ McCarthy, obviously. I guess Xavier Scott was questionable going into this game. Andrew Van Ginkel was out with a neck injury. Carson Wentz, he had that shoulder thing. Fucking crazy. So they have 2 more, Christian Darrisaw and Donovan Jackson, both with injuries, so on their offensive line. So both of these teams were maybe fielding 1 starting offensive lineman per side.
Yeah. Well, it shows that the Chargers at least kind of figured things out, because they had 419 yards versus the 164 yards on the other side. So
I'm just saying the Chargers, and you're saying they look bad, but they're playing hurt. I mean, and they overcame that, right?
I just want them Vikings to look bad.
Unable.
Okay, they're ahead of us still. I mean, our time will come. We'll get the tiebreaker at the end of the day, and I'm not too worried about it.
I think both the times the Giants won the Super Bowl in 07 and 11, they were a wild card team. So it's not bad going in with the wild card spot.
We've just never been there. I don't know. Uncharted territory in the Mahomes era. Kamani Vidal, though, this guy's guy's pretty good, huh? 23 carries, 117 yards, and a tutty.
Is he good, or is it just the offensive system that allows him to be good? That is always the question, especially with these like run heavy offenses. And I know that you don't typically wouldn't think of the Chargers as a run heavy offense, but I think that when with Jim Harbaugh there, they are run first for sure, and he's getting kind of an Alvin Kamara type role. Not Alvin Kamara this year, but early days Alvin Kamara type role. Austin Eckler type thing going on. So
yeah, I mean,
he seems like a dude, but he seems good, and he's good in this offense for sure. Is he good overall? I don't know.
Yeah, a total of 54 carries for 279 yards. He's averaging 5.2 yards a carry. Or somebody like Amarian Hampton was averaging 4.8, and then Najee Harris is averaging 4.1, who I think his career average is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, but listen to that.
Out of
like
the three,
4.8, 4.1, like, you know, they both saw probably a little bit more work to this point than Vidal has, so that could, you know, come back down. But it sounds like they just have a good running game. I think that's all above, like, you know, league average. Have to look.
Certainly helps. But yeah, so yeah, Vikings couldn't get it done. It sucks. But Chargers are the start of the blowout games of the week.
Well, the Vikings beat the Bears, Bengals, Browns. Or, yeah, the Bears, Bengals, and Browns. So if your team has a name that doesn't start with a B, you're going to beat them.
Okay. That's good to know.
Also, those are just three bad teams. The Bengals are a bad team right now. The Bears are bad. The Bears were a bad team at the time that they played, and they only won that game by 3 points. And, you know, they're kind of coming into their own right now, but I would say that the Bears are still just kind of like a middling team is what I'll say. I'll say that they're like a middle-of-the-road team. And the Browns are a bad team. And the only team they only blew out the Bengals, and that was the deepest, darkest corners of all of our minds, but they barely made it out against the Browns and the Bears. So, I mean, they just have no impressive victories on the season. I don't think there's any reason to think that they were going to be, you know, any type of force in the league. I think that, you know, if you're a Vikings fan,
I wouldn't think so.
If you're a Vikings fan, you looked at it and you said, oh, we're good. And if you're an NFC North fan, you were saying they were fraudulent. And then if you were unbiased, you were probably like, you should have been like, we'll wait and see. They look good, but are they good? I just think the Vikings are one of the more fraudulent teams out there. As far as like fraudulently good, I don't think that they're very good. I think they're the worst team in their division, almost certainly this year.
I could see that. Next game. Biggest surprise of the week, I think. One-eyed Tua absolutely decimates the Falcons defense. They win 34-10 in their game. So we got no Michael Penix in this, but did you expect Kirk Cousins to play as bad as he did?
Kirk Cousins might be the worst quarterback in the league right now. And Kyler Murray's still in the league, and he's pretty fucking bad. I mean,
Tua's still in the league, and
Tua,
outside of this game, he's pretty fucking bad.
I mean, he went 20-26 for 205 yards and 4 TDs. The yardage doesn't really jump out at you, but holy shit, dude! I think that he saw those gambling things and he was like, "Fuck, I gotta stop throwing interceptions. They're gonna catch on.
They're catching on."
They boasted as one of the most accurate quarterbacks out there. I'm throwing four INTs a game. I gotta have a good game. I gotta mix a good game in here. Kirk Cousins, 21 of 31 for 173 yards, no touchdowns. Fucking dog and shit, buddy. Like,
what really happened in this game, though? Because you look, Bijan, who, I mean, is this 2 weeks in a row? Because he wasn't very good last week, correct? If I'm not mistaken, we talked about him last week just not being the powerhouse that he should be. And he's got 9 carries for 25 fucking yards. Like, that's not good. Playing from behind will reduce carries, and obviously it went through Kirk at that point. But Falcons just do not look very good right now, and I don't know that even getting their starting quarterback, who's obviously been taking the first team reps, is going to help this team right now. I can't tell if this is Miami figuring something out or if this is just the Falcons just look really bad. And I'm leaning towards the Falcons just look really bad right now.
No, this isn't Miami figuring anything out, dude. This is far and away the worst game of the season that the Falcons have played. unfortunate that it came against the Dolphins, but it did. Like, this happens. Like, I equate this to the Vikings-Bengals game that we were just talking about. Like, this makes the Dolphins look a lot better than they are. Just like the Vikings blowing the Bengals out made the Vikings look like a lot better team than they are. The Dolphins are still scrambling for, just to be like halfway to 500 at this point. They're still 2-6. They still, Tyreek Hill's gone. Excuse me. They don't have a real, second number 2 wide receiver, even though you have Malik Washington come in and they use him like a scat back. He's all over the place. He's just like a tool guy. Westbrook Akine is a bum. You just don't really have anybody who's going to be catching passes outside of Jalen Waddle there. And, you have Ollie Gordon who comes in for like a, change of pace, but I mean, he's hot and cold. HN, he's going to be himself, he's a good running back in the league, and he's going to get his, a lot of times more than he gets got, but that's not going to be enough to win the Dolphins any games, dude. I think that this is just one of those abysmal games that you got to shake off, and I would expect to see the Dolphins win too much more this season.
I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, if I am Mike McDaniel, any shot that I have, I'm making Tua wear an eye patch from here on out. It's clear they found the bad eye.
I mean, potentially.
And that bad eye was causing him lots of issues. Yeah, so, I mean...
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what's going on with that team because, I mean, even at the beginning when they had the full stack team, they had Tua with 2 eyes, they had, Tyreek Hill, they had Jalen Waddle, they had Devon Achane, they had Darren Waller, who I don't even know his fucking status at this point. I guess he's got a pectoral injury and
he's IR, I think.
Yeah, he is IR. You are correct. I'm looking now.
So there's just no shot of that going well. I mean, fuck. What a flash in the pot from him. But I mean, I don't think the Dolphins have anything good going for them at this point. They need to reconfigure their team. They need to retool. Their defense isn't anything to write home about. They lost like their best player in the offseason. I mean, you just got to go. You got to play it out, figure out. I think it's going to be a case of the Dolphins just figuring out who they're going to keep and who they're getting rid of in the offseason, and then they got to rebuild or retool, I guess is what you would say, because I mean, you're obviously still continuing down the Tua path.
And now it's starting to get colder too. So with the cold coming in, it's just going to get worse for them. And if they're not playing in Miami, they're not going to be good. I mean, they played at Falcons this time, so that was a nice indoor stadium there, and it's also Atlanta, so it's warm regardless. But yeah, it's gonna get rough from them. But hey, congrats to the Dolphins on getting a very big time win against
congrats to
sort of a hot team. Obviously minus their starting quarterback, but
hey, they have the Ravens
down.
They have the Ravens coming down next week, so.
Ravens with a healthy Lamar Jackson. Speaking of the Ravens, terrible timing for a squad like yours. But with a backup quarterback, they go and dismantle the Bears. The third blowout of the week. I said this the moment they let him go, and a lot of people were like, no, it was time, or look, he really couldn't get anything done. But the fact that they even considered, and I know his stats aren't mind-blowing, but the fact that they considered letting Huntley go, Mr. Snoop Huntley himself, when they let him kind of walk to another team, which I think he went to Miami for a bit there, I thought that was stupid. I thought him and Lamar's play style were very similar, so you can run a very similar offense. Is he going to do what Lamar does? Absolutely not. Nobody could do what Lamar does. But he gave them a fighting chance in that style of offense. Without him or Lamar, you have to run that offense very differently. And that's what we saw with fucking, who the fuck was their quarterback last week?
Who?
The Ravens.
I don't know, fucking Kyle Allen. Who the fuck knows, dude?
No, it was, God damn it. Who the fuck? I could see his face and I cannot think of his fucking name right now. And I found it odd that he was even on that team. It was a very odd sign. Cooper Rush. that didn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that at all, why Cooper Rush would be in that offense. I get that he played well in Dallas. I get that he was a great backup in terms of, going in for Dak. But him and Dak are way more similar than even close to him and Lamar. So this pickup for the Ravens for that, I don't understand. But now they got Tyler Huntley back, which opens up a whole lot of different options, which means Derrick Henry could run. His average not looking too good. He was 21 of 71, but 2 touchdowns. And then the rest of it was Tyler Huntley. I imagine if we look at the rushing yards here for the Ravens, Tyler Huntley is second on that list, which is the way it should be for any team with this style of offense. Derrick Henry being your number 1 because he is your number 1 back. Tyler Huntley being number 2. And I'm sure Derrick and Lamar flip back and forth every week. So, Ravens get a massive win, and the Bears just did not look good. I think the Ravens got some guys back on defense to help out. Their defense looked phenomenal. Wiggins looked phenomenal. Wiggins looked like the Wiggins of like early last year, that they were like, okay, we found a fucking guy. We've got a guy. And Caleb Williams, 285 yards. His yardage is good. His completion percentage isn't terrible, but just 1 pick. And then 45 yards from a running back. Roma Dunze seemed to be his only target of the day. I'm not an AFC North fan, but I do like the Ravens. I do like Lamar, and it's perfect timing to get that win and try to just keep as close as possible in that division. And then Lamar is at practice, and I just saw like a clip. I didn't watch it, but I saw a clip of an interview, and he seems happy and actually practicing, and I guess he's finally coming back.
Yeah, so I'll give my little spiel on this. I didn't want to interrupt you there, but I think that the tail of the tape here is the rushing yards, right? I don't think Tyler Huntley did anything incredible. They just ran the ball effectively, right? So you look at total rushing yards, 177 to total passing yards, 178. So almost 100% balanced on that. When you can play like that and you can score 30 points, you're probably going to win, right? Because you're going to be controlling the clock, controlling the tempo, keeping your defense fresh. You put up 30 points and have literally 50-50 split between passing and rushing yards. That's exactly, if they were to draw up offense in a vacuum, that's how they would do it. And on the other side of the ball, it shows to go you that you just can't. I have no faith in Caleb Williams as a starter in the league. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think that he's going to be a star or anything like that. I've never liked him since before he was drafted. It's just a personal thing, feeling I get about him, but you put the ball in his hands, right? 276 pass yards to 96 rushing yards. You put the ball in Caleb Williams' hands and the Bears fail to score, right? 16 points. It's not going to get it done against most of the teams in the league, right? You probably need to be in the 24 to 30 point range to win games in the current state of the NFL. 96 rushing yards is not going to get it done. If you can't have 100 combined rushing yards, I would dare to say that I'll say 99% of the good teams out there are fielding a 100-yard rusher per week, not just 100 yards rushing. So to have under 100 yards rushing, it has to be an anomaly for your team. You have to do better in the rush game. You can't become a one-dimensional offense when you do, and that one dimension is putting the ball in Caleb Williams' hands. They might be winless in that time, and I think they'll continue that trend. 276 passing yards, a fake stat.
Honestly, if you look at it though, the weird thing is they had more total yards, not by much, but it was fairly even on total yards. 1 interception versus 0 interception. So 1 turnover there. No fumbles by either team. Time of possession is damn near 50-50.
Yeah, 34.
But penalties
34
also.
more penalty yards. They were not in the greatest positions. They were starting with longer fields. That all plays into it, sure. But if you can't get the running game going on first and second down and, scrap some yards together, if you're going to end a game with 96 rush yards and the other team ends the game with 177 and you just show me that stat, you're going to guess that the team that has almost 200 rushing yards versus the team that couldn't break the 100-yard barrier won the game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The penalties also don't help. They're talking not double the penalty yards. Well, close to double the penalty yards, close to double the penalties.
I mean, same amount, just to go to that stat, like same amount of punts, sacks. Tyler Huntley was sacked one more time than Caleb Williams was, so it wasn't like that. There were no fumbles lost. Caleb Williams has the lone interception. But I mean, like the stats, if you just look like down at like those type of stats, it's not going to
rushing.
Yeah, it's not going to look very uneven either way. It's going to look pretty 50-50 down the thing, but then you just go up and look at the yards and you're thinking, all right, that's what it is.
Cool.
They went cold in the middle of the game too, so that's big too.
Yeah, Ravens getting theirs. It is wild that we are 8 weeks in and Ravens get their second win of the season.
Yeah, hopefully that trend continues and they're only able to win 2 out of every 8 games. That would be great.
That'd be good for you. Do we want to go to probably the like actual game of the week, or do we want to save that?
No, yeah, we'll talk about your game last. We'll talk about my game second to last. The Bengals Jets is my game. The Chiefs Commanders is your game. So I'll go on my rant and then I'll let you like cap off the recap here. But no, let's skip to let's get through all these blowouts, dude. There's not a whole lot we have to say about any of these things.
Bills Panthers, pretty standard shit there. Panthers don't look good. Panthers have the Red Rocket as quarterback. Do we think Bryce Young makes them a better team?
Yes, only in the way that I think he's just better than Andy Dalton is right now. So
he's younger too. Andy Dalton's been in the league for 100 years. I mean, that man started with you guys, right?
I think he's just better in that facet. But I think, James Cook is really the story of this game. 216 yards, rushing 2 TDs on 19 carries. I mean, that's an incredible stat line. Might be a historical stat line. I'm not really sure. I think if you're the Bills, though, I would be a little bit concerned with Josh Allen's play. I don't think he's played particularly well this season, and they haven't done anything to help him on the receiving end of the ball. They're still fielding the same no-name bunch of receivers. That's going to end up hurting them in the long run, but that's really all I have to say about this game.
Yeah, just real quick, just to kind of add on to that, I have seen rumors of them reaching out for Brian Thomas Jr., Chris Olave we've talked about, some of these other kind of, middle of the road to better, on the better side of the receiving core that aren't playing for teams. The Brian Thomas Jr. one is a little weird because you take away Brian Thomas Jr., they don't have much there in terms of the Jaguars. Speaking of which, since we're not going to talk about them, I saw the funniest commercial I think I've seen in a while. Okay. And you've seen the Heisman commercials, right? Where it's like Baker, Tim Tebow's been a part of them. It's a Nissan commercial, but it has all Heisman winners in there. Barry Sanders is a part of it a lot. Yeah. Like, it's hilarious. So this time they had Travis Hunter playing Go Fish, but he was playing against himself. So he went over and he sat in one chair. He was like out on the front porch and he's like, "Do you have any 4s?" And he gets over and he goes, "I should have seen that coming," or something like that.
Yeah, I did.
And they were like,
that was funny.
And then Baker goes, "He plays both sides." Like, that is fucking genius. Hey, listen, Nissan, one of the shittiest vehicles out there right now. They're going down. They have one good vehicle left and nobody can afford it.
What is it? The Frontier?
No, the Nissan, the GT, whatever car that they have.
Oh, I was thinking of sports cars. I thought you meant.
Yeah, it's a sports car. Frontier, sure. The trucks look kind of cool, but they're probably shit at the end of the day.
That wasn't the Frontier an SUV. I'm not talking about the Titan. It's the Frontier.
No, the Frontier is like the small truck, like the Colorado size truck.
What's the Nissan SUV?
So they have the Pathfinder, and I think they have one that's bigger.
I think I was thinking of the Pathfinder because that's the one.
Pathfinder, I rode in one and it wasn't terrible. It was kind of.
I feel like I just see. I don't think I've ever ridden in a Nissan in my entire life. I see a lot of
Pathfinder.
Pathfinders, Rogues. Those are like those are the only two. Popular. I don't ever see like an ad for an Altima, but I know that the Altima exists, obviously.
Yeah. But Nissan has genius marketing. I mean, that shit. Those commercials are always pretty good. That one just like, and then Baker going, "He plays both sides," and I'm like, that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. And I'm over here laughing about a dumbass State Farm commercial with Megan Trainor going, "Give it up for Patrick. He plays sports." Anyways, Bills need that. But Bills also show with the running backs, if you got a guy that can run that fucking ball, there's a good chance you're going to win this fucking game.
Yeah, I guess the question is it sustainable or is he a flash in the pot like Dalvin was? I mean, I know Dalvin had a couple good years, obviously injury permitting, but like, whew, you just look at like, is is he going to be genetically bad at the latter half of his career? I don't know. I mean, you're obviously not looking out that far right now. If you're a Bills fan, you're looking at this season and trying to win now. That's why you got to be desperate to get like a true number one receiver in the building. But
yeah, I think it could sustain if Josh Allen can get some receivers. But that they have to do that. On the flip side of that, we talked about this last week. And I think I even saw it on Pat McAfee's show today. So clearly he is watching our podcast, is still in content from us. You will be hearing from our lawyers.
Yeah, for sure.
But they did talk about the same thing. Yeah, Matt McAfee. They did talk about the same thing I talked about last week. I think running backs are about to flood the fucking market as far as getting paid, because it is showing that if you have a good, unless you're, not to toot my own horn, unless you're fucking Patrick Mahomes, if you have a hell of a running game, there's a good chance you're gonna win some shit.
Well, I
mean, we saw it with
Saquon
and squad last year. We're seeing it with the Jets. Like, yes, Danny Dimes looks great right now on the Colts, but Jonathan Taylor is the star of that fucking team.
Yeah, obviously.
And we're seeing that week in and week out.
Listen, if we're going to say anything, it just needs to, like, if we're going to attribute it to anything, I think you attribute it to Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. Those are the guys who everybody's looking at. They're like considered like the baby geniuses of the league. Like they're the ones who are scheming it up, and that's just how their offenses run, right? So that's I think Mike McDaniel's just like a consequence of those other guys.
I think he had some good times, but if you think about their better teams, what did they have in common? They had a very, very good run game between A-Chain, Mostert, and these guys. They all ran this similar offense.
What I'm saying is the reason that wide receivers are so valued and running backs aren't is because those guys have been really plug and play guys with running backs. I mean, you see the acquisition of Christian McCaffrey, but San Francisco, for a lot of those years that they were going to the playoffs, they were winning a lot of games with Kyle Shanahan prior to, this year and potentially like last year and this year. They were going with like just a litany of running backs. Like it didn't matter. They were just like, Kyle Shanahan was like, I just need a guy to put back there, like an actual NFL player back there. And we're going to pass the ball a fuck ton, like short passes. We're going to run like a traditional West Coast offense. We're going to win a lot of games. Sean McVay, kind of the same thing. I don't think he's ever been running back dependent in his entire career. Yes, they have a better running back now with Kyron Williams, but I don't think they need that to be effective. And I think that's where the rest of the league is kind of getting that from.
Who was, since you probably watched this game a little closer than I did, who was the Rams running back in that last Super Bowl?
Wasn't it Cam Akers? Am I crazy?
So this would have been the 2022 Rams. I just want to see something because I have a stat to that as well. Rams depth chart. Sorry, I need to learn how to fucking type here. Let's see here. Their top runner was Cam Akers, who had, a pretty good year. It was him and Darrell Henderson Jr. that year. Kyron Williams was kind of coming up at that point, but those were your top three backs. They had a really good run game through those three running backs.
So you're mistaking what I'm saying. You're saying a good running game, which you generally I would agree with you. You need to have. I'm saying that like premier running backs are not sought after because of those guys. Cam Akers is a bum. Darrell Henderson is a bum. Like they did not play with quality running backs.
I see what you're saying. I think having that guy though, like, so part of me, and here's the kind of example, part of me, we talked about, there was a lot of rumors of the Chiefs trying to go get like Alvin Kamara way too late in his career.
Cam Akers,
but let's say we're getting peak Alvin Kamara.
No, but Cam Akers had 21 rushing yards in that Super Bowl. 21.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon had fucking 40 something in the Super Bowl. I mean, they beat the shit out of us because we only stopped that. But I get the premier receiver, but I think these running backs are showing that we don't have to have the best of the best as long as you have a great running back.
I think running backs can win you games, and they are very good to have. And I agree with you. I think they're undervalued in the market. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the reason that the league is the way it is now, and that we are in essence overvaluing receivers and not paying attention to the running back position as much, is because of those guys and their success. So Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan traditionally, outside of, the last 2 years, have not had to have premier running backs. So everybody else is late to that party. So they only care about wide receivers. They have already gone back and acquired Christian McCaffrey. They have Kyron Williams. They have 2 studs at running back. They have stars, top 10 running backs in the league, both of them. And so they're just ahead of the curve, right? So they're already in the future, like with established running backs, whereas the rest of the league is still playing catch up. Now you have guys out there, Jonathan Taylor, who's already, he's just a player. Somebody had to have him, right? So the Colts are getting are beneficiaries of this, kind of change in environment where the running back is, hot again, because they already had Jonathan Taylor, right? There are people who already have like running backs. You see Dallas right now, they're scrambling. They would probably trade back go back and get Rico Dowdle back if they could at this point. I mean,
Javonte looks terrible.
Javonte is good, but if they could have Javonte and Rico, they would do that, because they could have had Rico 100%. At a discount.
But so I'm actually this time picking up what you're putting down. Do you think though that these guys, the Saquons, the Jonathan Taylors, even Rico might see his day? Fucking
Rico's the number 1 back. They named Chuba Hubbard the backup.
A guy like Breece Hall who can change a game if he actually fucking plays well.
I'm a big Breece Hall guy.
Will these guys reset? Right, same. The Cook from the Bills. Do these guys reset their market? Do we think that's coming?
Whose contract is up after the season? It just depends.
It really all, because the top guys like Taylor, it was Jonathan Taylor, Saquon, because Saquon just got his when he went to the Eagles, but JT was the last one. Who's the running back of Green Bay right now? God damn it. Josh Jacobs.
Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs might be if Jahmyr Gibbs is still on his rookie contract, I think he will be the one to start it, because he means more to that team than any of those other guys mean to their team.
Right.
Outside of Jonathan Taylor, who's I think on already a long-term contract. And I think that we might still be like a year or 2 out from Jahmyr Gibbs, but they should extend him early anyway. But
yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, that team right there with 2 running backs. I do wonder though, because the receivers are important. You have to have a good receiver. We're seeing it with Buffalo. They're a beatable team because you stop that running game and you have a decent set of defensive backs. They are an easily beatable team, at least as far as your defense versus their offense.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if you put this is going to be kind of hard.
So it's wondering what tier of wide receiver do you need to pay for to also still pay some of these top tier running backs?
I think you need like an A and a C, or like 2 B tiers, if we're being honest. And I obviously don't have these tiers flushed out. Maybe I'll do something.
Do we think Higgins is like that top tier?
I think
like a Higgins, Rashee Rice kind of level.
I would put
at least one of them, and then a good running back.
Yeah, I would put
like a solve your offense.
A B plus. I think he has the potential to be an A plus or elite wide receiver. But I mean, obviously,
I agree. I wanted him on the team.
He's on a team with an elite wide receiver, so I would put him in like the A minus to B plus category. But yes, I think if T Higgins was on the Bills, they're an incredible team. But however, I think if you put T Higgins on the Bills and replace James Cook with Bill Krosky Merritt, I think the Bills are a worse team.
Right. So this is where the running back really is like, it's an important, I think it's becoming a way more important position than it used to be, because a team like Kansas City is getting away with just like, let's just get some guys back there. Now, Pacheco, obviously coming off of injury, hasn't looked like he used to. He had some flashes of it last night, but it was against a beat up defense.
But obviously, there's
Kareem Hunt.
even more than that matters, right? Because you look at Atlanta, right? They're not the best team in the league. They have Bijan,
but they have one of the top running backs,
and
potentially one of the top running backs in the league.
Yeah, potentially they have one of the better receivers in Drake London. I would say he's probably a top 15 receiver. Probably he might be top 10. I just have to think about it.
Well, that's where the quarterback comes into play too, and it could be offensive scheming. I mean, I don't know what the fuck's going on there in Atlanta because I didn't want to believe it, and then we start seeing some flashes of some games, and I'm like, maybe Doug's onto something, but I think they've got to work on their play calls or something. I didn't watch this game.
I mean, like they're not going to do it with Kirk, dude.
My
claims
I agree,
were
but I don't think they
based
do it
off
with
of
Penix.
Michael Penis Jr. playing.
I didn't even mean to say Penix. I don't think they do it with Penix either. Mainly because he's a left-handed quarterback. If that guy was a right-handed quarterback, he could probably take over the league tomorrow. But he's not, so I don't trust him. I don't know.
Atlanta
James
fucked
Cook,
themselves, dude, by giving Kirk that huge contract. I mean, swindled him. Go Kirk, go change.
I don't understand how teams haven't learned years ago, and it probably happened even well before, but years ago, two of your biggest contracts in the NFL that I can remember, maybe I'm wrong because I watched this team suffer for many years after this happened. But Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens for the 49ers.
Oh, you're not talking about Matt Castle. Matt Castle was the beginning of the quarterback absolute blasphemy, dude. And your Kansas City Chiefs were a party to that, dude. They said, "Oh man, Matt Castle looked real good in New England. Let's fucking pay him a bunch of money."
Hey, but we had Jamal Charles at the time, so I guess we thought we could do something. 49ers with Terrell Owens and Jeff Garcia had this time where they spent money on these guys, and then they suffered for like 15 years after the fact. Terrell Owens was gone on 18 different fucking teams after the fact. Jeff Garcia turned into an absolute fucking no-name quarterback that people are like, who? Unless you like really paid attention to football. They had this crazy-ass year, and then they both like reset this entire market, and then the team just didn't have money for years. It's like they just couldn't afford to like put a team together. And it really wasn't until Kyle Shanahan took over with John Lynch and started this whole new revolution.
They had some good Alex Smith, Frank Gore years. Let's not.
Sure, Alex Smith. I mean, but we're talking like these one-off players. They get to draft Alex Smith because of how bad they are, and then they essentially nearly ruin the man's career. And the fact of like he's the only guy there, so he's constantly getting hurt. And then they bring in Colin Kaepernick, who is this newer style of player that we weren't used to, who could run the ball and do all these different things. So now they got a two-dimensional player. And then, you know, Alex Smith goes on and does what he does and then dies in Washington. But like there was a lot of rebuilding that had to take place at that team, and it didn't get there until somehow Jimmy Garoppolo goes to the Super Bowl, and somehow people want to play for San Francisco, and then they're able to make these crazy-ass deals with like, I really truly believe that somehow, because maybe contracts were different back then, I could be fucking wrong. I could be spitballing out of my ass right now.
Probably.
But I truly believe that like this Christian McCaffrey coming over to the 49ers was when the 49ers like, holy shit, we're finally out of that fucking hole from 10 years ago. We could afford to fucking build a team now. And that was the start. You had a quarterback there in Jimmy Garoppolo who you were paying a good amount of money to. He just couldn't get it done. So then you draft this other guy, and he comes in and is Mr. Irrelevant, takes over by storm, and then now he can't stay healthy and he's paid.
Oh, I think you're talking about Brock Purdy? No, they had CJ Beathard year in there. They had
but who was that? Was with Garoppolo though? It was still Garoppolo.
Yeah, it was, but I think they had a Brian Hoyer year in there too, dude.
I don't know. That the markets are so weird. Yeah. Speaking of dog shit, San Francisco, your dreams finally came true, and Kyle Shanahan got his ass beat this weekend by the Texans. What changed in this game? I didn't get to watch any of the. I watched like a partial of the 1 o'clock games. All the 1 o'clock games were the entirety of the NFL this year.
Well, you're gonna laugh at this, Billy, but they stopped the run. They stopped Christian McCaffrey from going.
They did.
That's just what it was. I actually watched this game, and it was just like Christian McCaffrey could get nothing going. My wife has him on her fantasy team. She was pissed. She lost this week because of that.
Our buddy Alex has Christian McCaffrey and Bijan on his team, and neither one of them does. That right there should win you every single week, and neither one of them did anything this week.
They had under 50 rushing yards on the entire game. Can't win.
That's
that way.
fucking
don't care
insane.
if you're don't care if your name's Shanahan. You can't win that way.
Mac Jones, nothing to write home about. Each team threw a pick. Each team had 2 touchdowns, but CJ Stroud had 1.5 times the amount of yards. They threw a lot. They also, their top guy had 62 yards. I assume the team had more. Yeah, the team had more than 100. Nope. Sorry, wrong team.
They might not have a 100-yard receiver on the season, dude. The Texans are throwing to like guys I've never heard of. Like Jared Wayne was a name that came up in this game.
Is Nico Collins? I might have missed this. Is he hurt again?
He is hurt. I think it's a concussion though. I think he has a concussion, or
okay,
it's either him or Christian Kirk has a concussion, and the other one has a hamstring issue.
So they have Christian Kirk, Nico Collins, and who's the other guy that was kind of popping off last year? And
he's out for the entire season.
Jesus
Tank
Christ.
Dell. No,
Tank Dell, yeah.
His like knee exploded at the end of last season. He like literally
that was against. So that was still from the game against us, and that happened against us.
Yeah,
in the end zone.
He is not.
He caught a touchdown, but then died in the end zone.
Yeah.
Damn, that sucks. So, do we imagine like? Because Stroud didn't look great last year. Last year was the sophomore slump. Do we attribute this year to more like we don't have any of our top guys in? Even Dalton Schultz, who he's aging out, he only has 2 receptions on this game, but they do win, obviously, so they're fine. But yeah, I'm with you. I've literally never heard of any of these guys in the receiving field except for Dalton Schultz and Nick Chubb, who I didn't even know caught the football. Honestly, didn't even know he was going to play any football. To be frank with you.
So here's, I think there's 2 ways of looking at this. And as somebody who, I'm not a big Texans guy because they beat the Bengals in the playoffs twice, but I'll be objective about this. If
I like Stroud though.
Yeah.
This is the next Patrick Mahomes.
Well, here's the thing is it's not. So this is kind of what this is what I'm getting at here is I think that if you are in the CJ Stroud camp, you say, hey, he's got none of his guys. Their team is a mess. Offensively, defensively, they're pretty stout, but offensively, their team has no guys. All the guys are out with injury. They have no direction. You can use that excuse all day, and it's a valid excuse. If you are not a CJ Stroud guy or not a Texans guy, and you want to come at the team, you say like, that's no excuse. Look at what Patrick Mahomes does with no number 1 receiver every year outside of like, Rashee Rice this season. At the end of last season, whatever.
We won a Super Bowl with Juju Smith as a number 1 receiver.
Yeah, but you say, exactly what you were saying is like, he's supposed to be the next Patrick Mahomes. And I'm over here like, well, he's not because he's not doing the same types of things. He is coming off of that slump season. That's not something generally that I think elite quarterbacks have. Not even Joe Burrow, even though Joe Burrow has been dealt with tons of injuries. When he plays elite. Like, they don't necessarily win games because you can't win games if you're giving up 45 points to the worst offense in the league. But
yeah, well, it's 39 or 38, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I just mean like even last year with the terrible defense we had last year when we at some point in the league, we were averaging like 33.5 points a game and we were like 2-4, and it's like how. That doesn't make any sense. But yes, when you're giving up massive amount of points, you're not going to be able to win a lot of games. I mean, luckily for the Texans, they do have a very stout defense. They're capable of shutting teams down as they did with the 49ers. And that's what I attribute this win to, is that it's more of saying like, hey, the Texans defense is for real. And, the offense is CJ Stroud he's good, not great. So like he's serviceable enough. If you get guys open, he can throw to them or whatever. Like I didn't see anything where he's like throwing guys like open or doing anything extraordinary. I don't know if that's like him, like just still being rusty or like, how far do you extend the slump? How much leeway do you give him? I just think it all depends on how much you like the guy or don't like the guy. If you like him, you just say like, he's better than he is. Like you have this like imaginary thing, kind of like people do with Jalen Hurts. CJ Stroud is essentially not like the type of player, but he's essentially Jalen Hurts on the Texans, right? Like, if Jalen Hurts was on the Texans and they weren't winning games, everybody would be, Philadelphia fans wouldn't be saying Jalen Hurts is the greatest quarterback fucking since Randall Cunningham. They'd be saying like, that guy fucking stinks. That's what people in Philly would be saying. And they'd be saying if CJ Stroud was in Philadelphia, they'd be saying CJ Stroud. He's the second coming of Fran Tarkenton. Like it doesn't really matter, but I think that he is like a Jalen Hurts type, where it's like if you are a fan, if you like the guy, you're going to make all the excuses and make him better than he really is. And if you don't like the guy, you're going to point out all of the flaws and kind of downgrade him probably to worse than what he actually is. And then the reality is just somewhere in the middle. I think that he's a very good quarterback. I think he's, top 12. I'll say he's
10,
top 12 in the league.
Top 10, 12, I agree.
But he's certainly not in the top 5. I don't think you put him in conversation for top 5.
So a team like this, I don't even know if this is legal, and especially when we start talking about contract issues, because, you have to, a lot of these things have stipulations of, because of the injury clauses, and, you got to play and do so much to get this much, and contract incentives. Do you sit like your franchise quarter? Like, he is their best option for probably years to come. Do you sit your franchise quarterback for the rest of the year, knowing that you just like, do we think they're going to turn things around? Because to be fair, the Texans did this last year. They looked horrendous at the beginning of last year. And it wasn't until about this time in the season where they turned things completely around and made a massive playoff push. But they are, as of right now, they're not getting in the playoffs, and they're not even close. You got 3 teams in the AFC West that are there. Their top 2 teams in their division are leaps and bounds beyond them. I think the Jaguars are hitting their slump now, which is expected. Your division could have fucking 2 or 3 teams.
Right now, our division isn't looking. We don't even deserve a team in there because the Steelers also a fraudulent team. We'll talk about that later.
The Steelers are fraudulent. If somehow you guys can get shit together, which we'll talk about, obviously, if you guys can get shit together with Flacco, get this defense fucking doing something, there's a chance. The Browns are out. They're eliminated automatically because their name is the fucking Browns. Ravens could do anything with Lamar coming back. I mean, they're still the favorites somehow at 2-5 to win this division.
They're
and
the
then
best team. They have the best team.
The AFC East can produce 2 teams. That's more than what the playoffs can handle. So, like, there's a lot that could happen, and I'm just at this point, it's like, I don't know what they do because they have a defensive-minded coach, and as you said, their defense looks pretty good. They have guys. They have absolute dogs on that offensive side. The problem is none of them can stay healthy. You got Joe Mixon, who was supposed to be their new running back, who hasn't played. And I saw week 4, and I fucking drafted this motherfucker. And I was like, fuck it. I've got no running backs left on the board. I'm going to draft him. I'm going to set him just like I am Rashee Rice. And about halfway through the fantasy season, I'm going to fucking pick up. I'm going to have Joe Mixon in there. I'm going to have Rashee Rice in there. I don't even know if this guy's going to play football ever again in his fucking life. He's your starter. Your next best thing is Nick fucking Chubb, who loved the guy when he was good, but he has not been relevant since he broke his leg 3 different fucking times. I don't know what that team does, so I don't know. Obviously,
here's what I'm saying. You can't bench him. You can't bench him, and here's the reason why. I'll tell you the exact reason why. Because if Nico and Christian Kirk get healthy and you have those 2 guys, Nico's a solidified number 1 wide receiver in the league. Christian Kirk is a serviceable number 2 wide receiver. You have these rookies that can come in, play slot, snaps. You have Woody Marks, who's like an emerging good NFL running back. You have Nick Chubb, who can be good, who has the potential. He's kind of a veteran of the game at this point. And you have a great defense, right? So you have all those things. You just have to hope that Nico and Christian get healthy, and you have to try to win all the games you can, because then come playoff time, if you're going into the playoffs rolling with a healthy Nico, a healthy Christian Kirk, and you have like some of those backfield guys, it doesn't really matter if Joe Mixon comes back or not, whatever he's dealing with. You can make some noise, especially with a good defense. If you come in full throttle into the playoffs and you have to win games to get there, so you're not going to bench your franchise QB because you're still trying to win games. Now, I think there are teams out there that should not be trying to win games right now.
They got a tough schedule coming up. They got the Broncos, they've got the Jags, they got the Titans, which should be a gimme at this point. They got the Bills, they got the Colts, they got us. It's a tough schedule.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule, but you have to try to win, because you can. If you get into the playoffs, you can make some noise. Like I said, if you have all your dogs, I mean, they're a toss up against most of the AFC teams, and I think they could be a dark horse against even the best teams in the AFC if they play, their better games. But you're talking about like teams that shouldn't be trying to win games right now are Panthers, Raiders.
I think the Raiders generally are trying. They just suck.
No, they shouldn't be, is what I'm saying. They should not be trying to win games.
But they are trying. They're just really
they may be
bad.
trying. They should not be. The Saints shouldn't be trying to win games right now.
Titans.
Titans should not be trying to win games. They need to solidify that number one
Jets.
pick. The Jets, yes, also should not be trying. The Jets really opened the door for the Titans when they won that game against the Bengals to get the number one pick. I mean, I think even if you're the Jaguars, you probably shouldn't be because the Jaguars are not good enough to win in the playoffs. They should probably just try to lose games right now and get better draft.
Get a quarterback.
Yeah, man.
What about the Browns? I mean, you got the Browns who just drafted, and I mean, they're in the next game up on the slate. The Browns just drafted 5 fucking quarterbacks. So, like, what did they do?
I don't hate Dylan Gabriel. I don't think he looks terrible. I mean, we haven't seen Shador Sanders. I don't think.
When do we see Shador? Is he really that bad that we're starting Dylan Gabriel over Shador Sanders?
I think that it's a media play, dude. I don't think the Browns ever wanted Shador Sanders. I think he just dropped far enough to where the Browns said, "Fuck, we probably got to take this guy."
It's like if we had 20. It's like if we had 52-man rosters, or not 52, but like 22-man rosters in fantasy. Like, why not pick him up just in case? This dude could come in one day and just go off, and your quarterback.
I don't think that's why. I think they looked at it as an opportunity to get eyes on them to generate revenue for the team. I think that's what they looked at it as. I mean, there's no reason for them to take him. Is kind of the thing. That's kind of the way that I look at it. I think they just saw the opportunity to generate buzz, to get some clicks, to maybe sell some merchandise. And they took that opportunity, which if you know you're going to be a dog shit team, which we know that the Browns are going to be a dog shit team because they are the Browns.
They're called the Browns. I said that. Yeah.
Just no reason not to, dude. They got swept up by the Patriots. Patriots winning the games that they're supposed to win, which you tip your cap to. They'll be in the playoffs for sure.
Drake May, MVP favorite, top 5 for you right now?
Top 5? Yeah, maybe.
Because we know it's going to go to a quarterback, right? So let's just eliminate the fact that, JT is he's the Saquon Barkley this year, who probably should be the MVP favorite.
Jonathan
because
Taylor
he's also on a team that's just absolutely turning shit around right now.
For sure. MVP, dude, I could see it being Jonathan Taylor. I could see it being Patrick Mahomes. I could see it being Drake May. I think Daniel Jones is going to win comeback player of the year. Unfortunately, so there's not even like the quarterbacks are going to be taking up a lot of spots here. I don't think there's a lot of guys who can really win MVP, right? Like, could Justin Herbert make a splash? Maybe, but I don't think he's played well enough particularly to do that. Lamar's missed too many games, I think. I think that you could argue that Jahmyr Gibbs should have a say in the matter. Jared Goff might get a say in the matter, though. Like, they might tip the cap to Jahmyr Gibbs by having Jared Goff in the mix, which, whatever.
We're about halfway. We're about the halfway point in the season. Aaron Rodgers?
No.
If they can, he's had some great games, and he's had some bad ones too. But
yeah, here's the thing: is like Drake May hasn't, right? So like Drake May hasn't missed. Justin Herbert's played consistently way better than Rodgers. Christian McCaffrey is the only. If there's ever a case for a non-QB MVP, it's like when that guy plays well, the 49ers win, and it does not matter who else is on the field. Jonathan Taylor, I would give all those guys the nod. Jahmyr Gibbs as well. I would give him the nod over Aaron Rodgers for sure.
Now, are we saying that over Aaron Rodgers because you hate Pittsburgh, or is that
no? I just don't think Aaron Rodgers has played well enough, dude. I think all those guys are outperforming Aaron Rodgers. I think Baker Mayfield is another one who you throw in that category. He's outperforming Aaron Rodgers. Just by eye test, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers' stats look like this year, but I can't believe that they're phenomenal.
Trying to look it up here real quick. I hate some of these sites. They want to tell you a fucking story as they tell you the leaders.
He has.
Let's look at. What the fuck is this showing me?
He has halfway through the season, he's got 1,489 passing yards. So that means that he's on target for 3K passing yards. I mean, I don't think that wins you MVP. 16 TDs to 7.7 interceptions. We round up in America. So he's 1 out of every 5 passes, or 1 out of every 5 touchdowns is an interception.
So in yards, Aaron Rodgers, Jesus Christ, he is 22nd.
Oh, I'm sorry, TD percentage. So it's 16 to 5. I had to lie about that.
Touchdowns, Aaron Rodgers is what? How many did you say he has? Touchdowns?
16.
16. So Aaron Rodgers is third. He's tied for third for touchdowns. And then a stat a lot of people love to look at is interceptions. Oh, fuck, of course. All right, let's go back to touchdowns. It's telling me fucking quarterbacks I haven't played this year. Interceptions, he is... where the fuck did he go? Did I not do it by touchdowns again? 16. Aaron Rodgers has 5. But then Stafford has 2. Stafford also has 17 touchdowns, so he could make a case. Okay, yeah. He's probably not in the top 5 then.
I wouldn't say so. He's not even in the top. He's 22nd in yards, like you said. What's his TDs? He was 3rd. Yeah, he's tied for 3rd with Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert. So he really, depending on what's, he's between 3rd and 6th, which is whatever.
Yeah. All right.
Here's one that people love to go. QBR. He is the 19th best QBR. He's behind Caleb Williams in QBR.
Yeah, I don't understand that one at all. People highlight that shit way too much, and I fucking hate it. But anyways,
passer rating. But yeah, I'd say Lamar, Drake May, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Daniel Jones. I think they all have a better case.
Lamar, if he starts playing well, and they do turn it around, like he could make his case, sure. But as of right now, he's missed 3 games.
Yeah, I just still think that he has a better case for MVP than Aaron Rodgers does this year.
Then Aaron Rodgers, sure. Yeah, so Patriots slapped the Browns. Nothing to really talk about there. Eagles beat the Giants. This was expected. Big win. Let's talk about officiating real quick. Officiating's dog shit this year.
Yeah.
And clear fumble by the tush push, a play that will never not be talked about until it's finally fucking banned in the NFL. Jalen Hurts fumbles, and I think this really turned the tides of this game, minus the fact that Scatterbo breaks his absolute fucking ankle and is out for the year. But that fumble before all that really changed the entire landscape of this game in favor of the fucking Eagles. And then they run away with it.
Yeah, I've been since we started talking about the tush push. This has always been my main contention with it, and my main contention with the officiating is specifically this year. I've talked about this maybe in every episode that we've done so far, and certainly outside of the podcast, I talk about it a lot. And they're just now getting to this in the media because of this call on Sunday, and that is the forward progress rule. Is that it's a call of convenience. They call it when it favors specific things, and then they don't call it when it favors scoring. So I think that I'm not going to say it's the Eagles or the Chiefs or whatever. You know how people like to complain about that. I'll say that they make subjective calls that favor scoring in the game. So I think that that's the product that the NFL wants to release, and that's why these calls are made this way. And I think that they're conditioned to do so, right? Maybe not outwardly told, but conditioned to do so. So when there's a tush push on the 1 yard line and it gets held up for 5 seconds and they just keep letting them push until he eventually scores a touchdown, I think that is in the interest of the NFL as a business to allow that, because higher numbers equals better game, right? Higher scoring equals better game. And then I think in this case, when you're talking about, one of your premier teams, or if you're thinking about it as a business, one of your premier products in the Philadelphia Eagles playing a lesser product in the New York Giants, and you can make that call to favor your premium product over your lesser product, especially maybe one that's going to get more national coverage, national games, all those types of things, like ones that eyes are going to be on more, you're going to make calls that favor your better product. And in this case, scoring as well. So that is, I think, the long and the short of it. And that's why the subjective calls, like forward progress, are almost always controversial, is what I'm going to say. Like when they're in big spots, they're almost always controversial because they're subject. And I think that the call is made to favor the business of the NFL and not to favor the fairness of the game.
The biggest issue I have with this whole thing is, if we're going to call it forward progress, and that's the role that the league wants to go with since they initiated this
they're
rule.
only going to do that when it's not a scoring play, right? When it's a fumble and it goes against, the product that the NFL wants to release, they're going to call forward progress. But when it's a stop, when it's a defensive stop on a goal line situation, they're going to allow that progress to continue.
Well, so the real issue though is that's fine. I get that. I understand that. I still think it's bullshit. But the real problem is when the fuck do you want to call forward progress? Do you want to call it 10 seconds after that guy's leg stop running? Do you want to call it 2 seconds after guy's leg stop running? When do you want to call forward progress? Because the issue in this play specifically is no whistle was blown until after the fumble was recovered by Burns on the Giants. Well, that's when the whistle happened, and then they said, never mind. It's forward progress.
This was an issue earlier in the day, too, in one of the... in the Bucks game, I think. The Bucks-Saints game. If I'm not mistaken, it could have been another game. There was a defensive touchdown that got called back because they claimed that a whistle had blown. And in the booth...
But nobody hears the whistle. I remember hearing about that one. Yeah.
They replayed it. And they were like, there is no whistle. But the refs were like, no, it was blown. The play was blown dead. And it's like, no, bro, that was a fucking defensive touchdown.
Where we talk about that there's some arrests that were made, and it's weird. The first time in 55 years, there's these massive blowouts, and, maybe they're like trying not to get caught on. This was one of the worst weeks of officiating I've ever seen in my entire fucking life because of shit like that. Because of those two calls, we talk about the Packers-Steelers game, where there was the Steelers have a tackle in motion. It's an illegal formation, an illegal motion, and it's a false start all in one fucking try. They let the play go. But then on the flip side, there are 3 people jumping off sides about to hit a player, which typically is a dead ball foul, and they don't call that either. It's like, I get maybe in that instance you're making up for it, but you can't make up for your terrible officiating. And I think it all around, this is fucking awful. And it does make you think, and you talk about it, and I totally get it. At the end of the day, the NFL is a business. It's an entertainment business, and it's all about making money. But at the end of the day, especially when they decided that fucking 45 states in the entire, United States can bet on these fucking games, when you introduce gambling into this shit, and technically the officiating looks to have gotten worse on the surface, that shit has to be fixed, because it seems like you're fixing the fucking games, and it looks bad as a whole. And part of me hopes it comes out. The other part of me doesn't, because, the Chiefs get to ride the coattails of all of it. But it's just bad. But then I see a Chiefs game where no calls are made here and there, and it happens all the fucking time. I understand in real time it's hard to see some things, but some of these are egregious. And to my whole fucking naked eye. I know I get a nice little view on the TV. There's no way with 15 of you fucking referees out there, you're not seeing this. And then there's no way
they can't even claim that. They can't claim that because if we go back to last week with the fucking 16-minute conversation on the field after
they're making shit up as they go.
Yeah.
It's
so
bad.
it's not they have access to the footage.
They did that shit last night in the game. There was a conversation. It was like, for what? What are we having a conversation about? What is the conversation about? What are you going to discuss now?
It's bad.
The only discussions that take place that I think, and they shouldn't take fucking 15 minutes. The ones that should take place is like, hey, I didn't see it. Is that intentional grounding? Is it not? Those are the only ones that I see like, yeah, we need to talk about this. Who saw it? Was there a receiver in the area? Because if you saw a receiver in the area and this quarterback was outside the pocket, then there's no flag. If there's no receiver in the area, if you didn't see it, it's a flag. Mahomes got called in that shit last night. But remember, the refs are on our side. I don't know. It's got to get fixed.
You did have a perfect game last week, so let's calm down a little bit.
I think it was like 2 weeks ago, but I'm with you.
That had to be last week.
Might have been last week. Who the fuck did we play last week? I don't think it was last week. I think it was the week before.
Okay. Anyhow,
it was the week before. We beat the shit out of the Raiders last week.
I don't want to talk about anything about any of these next couple games, and we'll just get to the meat of this.
Bucks beat the shit out of the Saints. Spencer Rattler sat. I hope this does some good for the Bucks and Baker Mayfield because I would like to see them do well. Colts demolish the Titans.
Expected. Jonathan Taylor MVP.
Absolutely expect. Jonathan Taylor looks good. A game I do want to talk about just for a brief moment. Cowboys fucking suck. What are we doing here? You go from last week's game to this week's game. They made Bo Nix look like a football fucking god. Bo Nix is not a football god. He is a child in a man's uniform out there slinging a ball that looks fucking awful. To me, he's probably bottom fucking tier quarterback. And they made him look like he is one of the best in the league. And he's not.
So, all I'm going to say about this is the Cowboys they have a bottom tier defense, not the worst because it's not the Bengals defense, right? It's not that bad, but it's bottom tier defense with a high powered offense. And,
but that's the problem. Their high powered offense didn't look like even a high powered offense. Now, to be fair, on the flip side, Broncos do have a really good defense. They do lose Surtain in this game, and it looks like Surtain is headed to IR, which is unfortunate because it's going to be during the time that they play us. Fortunate if you're a psychopath and like, hell yeah, we got a shot. Unfortunate because they think they're better than us, and I know that they're not, and I want to beat the best out there. And Surtain is one of the best corners in the league.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the Broncos are outperforming their skill level for sure. But I'm wrong sometimes too. So there's that big giant fucking glaring thing.
I think they're a bad team. I think they're going to get shown up. One thing that I did notice from this game, there was a moment, because this is one I got to watch because it was only like 3-4 o'clock games and all the other ones were absolute blowouts. And I was just hoping Cowboys would somehow bring this back. There was a moment that the Cowboys were at about 75 yards out from the field goal point. I really wanted to see Brandon Aubrey come in and kick that fucking 75-yard field goal.
You think he could have made it, dude?
I think from the stats, first of all, Brandon Aubrey seems to be probably the next coming of Jesus when it comes to kickers. He had done some good stuff in, I guess, pregame warmups as long as 68 yards or something like that in his career. He's like close to the record. And then with the thin air and shit like that, whatever's going on in Denver there, they said it was highly likely that he probably could have made that field goal from that point. And I wanted to see it so bad just because that game was just such a shit show from that offense. Give me something entertaining, and seeing the longest kick in their history of the NFL that'll probably never be broken. I want to see it. And they didn't do it. They either punted or ran a play on fourth down and fucking just gave the ball back to the fucking dog shit Broncos.
Yeah, that's tough. I didn't watch a lot of that game, to be honest with you. So
I watched that one because the other ones were, at that time, it was the Bucks Saints, which you knew was just going to be a bad game, especially because I only got to watch some of the 1 o'clock games. So it's Bucks. Where the fuck am I? What is this shit doing? Bucks, Saints, Colts, Titans, and maybe this Eagles Giants game, which I mean, the writing was kind of on the wall there. Maybe that one was already going on. No, it was just 3 games. So Bucks, Saints, Colts, Titans, and the Broncos, Cowboys. So I was like, nah, I'm definitely going to hope the Cowboys go and beat the shit out of the Broncos, and it just didn't happen. And then we moved to Sunday night's game, probably second most entertaining game of the year. Packers face Aaron Rodgers for the first time since Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay. Kind of unbelievable since he's been gone for 3 years, but this was the first matchup.
Well, the Jets, different conference.
Different conference. And I didn't look for the first year Aaron Rodgers was there because he was hurt the entire year. And then last year they did not play the Packers at all. And then this would be the first time the Steelers played Packers.
Right.
This year, obviously. The only time they'll play them this year. Unless somehow these 2 teams make it to the Super Bowl, which they won't.
Be crazy.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, good for you. Aaron Rodgers did look kind of bad. Again, terrible officiating in this game. But I think the real story is this is a good test for Jordan Love. This is the highest paid fucking defense in the league. A defense that has to get it together if they really actually want to do something. And Aaron Rodgers really wants to try to win that ring. Jordan Love looked great. And I think, again, I alluded to it earlier, the addition, having Jalen Watson back, he didn't do a lot, but the addition, having Jalen, or
addition?
Addition. I said Jalen Watson, sorry, different Watson. Having Christian Watson back, though, I mean, he was 4 for 85. Maybe people were expecting more. I think it helped, and it obviously helped in Tucker Kraft. We know a guy mutually that said he was going up against Tucker Kraft, and he had no worries because that guy had Tucker Kraft, and he had Rashee Rice, and Rashee was going to light Lattimore on fire. And Tucker Kraft had a career fucking game against the highest paid defense in the league.
Yeah, Rashee didn't do too bad, though.
No, Rashee did great. Yeah, I'm happy with Rasheed's production. But Tucker Kraft, man, 7 for 143. His average was 20.4 and 2 touchdowns.
I think you have to look.
They carved that defense up.
You have to look yourself in the face if you're a Steelers fan and say, who the hell is Roman Wilson and why is he leading in receiving yards on this team? That's
agreed. Why does DK look so fucking bad? Why does Calvin Austin? And Calvin Austin's not a dog by any mean. Like he's not a guy. Everybody's like, damn, I wish I had Calvin Austin on my team. But Calvin Austin has had some highlights in his career. Terrible. Johnny Smith does not look good. Pat Freiermuth, their top tight end, does not look good. Jalen Warren did not look fantastic. He was okay, but didn't look fantastic in this game. And I was upset because I also have him on fantasy. I lost by 0.1 this week, by the way. So this is why I keep bringing up my fantasy team.
That's
0.1.
Tough,
When Kansas City got that last interception in the game, I was like, that's 2 points. I think I just won. And then I looked, and I was 0.1 away from winning. And I had basically pretty much all Kansas City starting for me this week. But yeah, I assume you had the Packers in this game. I don't know who I had.
Here, let me check.
I assume I also had the Packers, but
yes, we both had the
Packers. This still was, I was a more than a 1-score game. I think I would have expected a 1-score game, and I probably took the under on this.
Here, let me roll through it for you real quick. Vikings at the Bolts. You had the Vikings, so that's a 0 for Billy. You had the Bills, which is a 1 for Billy. You had the Bengals. Fucking, they should have won. We're getting into that in 5 seconds. We both had the Bears. I took the Browns like an idiot, dude. Oh, what a fucking weenie I am.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you were thinking there. I think it was reverse juju.
Both had the Niners, Falcons, Giants. Those were all homer picks. Bucks. Did both have the Colts. Both picked the Cowboys. Both picked the Packers, and both picked the Chiefs. So, I mean, for our record, I'm still 1 below you because we basically were even because you picked the Vikings and I picked the Bolts. And then 0, and then the Pats got that point back for you basically. 0,
Yep.
1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Yeah. So we remain one away from each other.
Well, let's get into probably the longest segment of our entire episode right now, because I don't have much to say about my game, but I am interested to hear about your game. I didn't get to watch all of it, but yeah, I had Breece Hall on my bench, just to let you know.
Well, that's your fault, not my fault.
Get into it, big dog. This is you. Jets at Bengals. In the jungle.
I would like to go on the record to say that I am a Bengals lifer, which means that I will be miserable for the entirety of my football being, because of this team, because of this organization, and their lack of attention to detail, lack of willingness to make mid-season moves, lack of ability to scout, draft, develop talent, all the things above and more. I'm just gonna suffer my whole life. I have suffered at one shining moment where we lost a Super Bowl to the Rams in my lifetime. A game that we probably should have won, if you just were to going into the game and looking at it. It's changed the whole tide of how I feel right now, but unfortunately, the disappointment does linger, and it's a constant reminder every year. When we start playing like this. And, I just want to go over a few things. Credit to the Jets. First off, they came into the game. Justin Fields was getting shit on a lot. He played a hell of a game. Breece Hall had a hell of a game. Garrett Wilson was out, and they still managed to throw the ball on us in our pathetic defense. To the Bengals organization, what did you expect? What in the world did you expect from this game, given the preparation that was put in, given all the things leading up to this moment? I didn't expect anything else but pure disappointment. And yet I was able to compartmentalize that, get my hopes up, and be incredibly disappointed. Because I think that we may be one of the few teams in NFL history that just finds a way to lose when we're scoring an enormous amount of points. It's not an offensive deficiency. It's never been an offensive deficiency since Burrow and Chase got here. We hinge on our defense and our run game. If we can run the ball and if we can play average defense, we can win games. Sometimes we can run the ball. We play like the worst defense in the league. Sometimes our defense will play average, but we can't run the ball. So we're putting it on the arm of a perennially injured elite talent because you can't block for him for more than 2 seconds, or a 40-year-old man. What are we doing? If you were ever on the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase Bengals bandwagon and you've held on for the ride, please get off now. I urge you to go to the Patriots, an up-and-coming team and an organization that does the right things, makes the right moves, and will eventually overall surpass us again in competition, mostly due to the deficiency of our organization and our front office. Now, I just want to go over a few things. I spent a little bit of time before the podcast today preparing this, so Billy has not heard this yet, but he's going to hear it now. I just want to go over free agents that the Bengals have acquired since 2020 on the defensive side of the ball, because this is, make no mistake, this is defensive deficiency. We got rid of Lou Anarumo because he was the problem. It wasn't Zach Taylor. It was just Lou Anarumo. Even though we had a top 5 defense 2 years ago that was able to generate turnovers and sacks, couldn't be a talent problem. Couldn't be a scouting issue. Couldn't be a a player issue. It had to be a coaching issue. But it couldn't be Zach Taylor's fault. Couldn't be the ultimate guy who's responsible for the well-being of the team, because all he does is think about the offense. So it had to be Lou Anarumo, because he's the defensive coordinator, right? We have an offensive head coach who only thinks about the offense. So why would we bother him with, the other half of football? Who the fuck knows? So these are the Bengals free agent pickups since 2020 on the defensive side of the ball. Defensive tackle DJ Reader. That was a good pickup. 2020. Safety Von Bell. That was a decent pickup. Also 2020. Cornerback Trey Waynes. Now, let me ask you something, Billy. Have you ever heard of cornerback Trey Waynes?
Excuse me. I have not. That is a new one for me. He's just about as a household name as all those receivers we named on that team from earlier that I can't remember because they're
You're thinking of the Texans. Trey Waynes, I don't think ever made it past the practice squad. I've never heard of the guy. I don't think he's ever played a snap. If he has played a snap, it was a bad snap, and nobody ever heard from him again. Defensive end Trey Hendrickson. I think we all know how that went. 2021. Cornerback.
Was he injured? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
He played this week.
This game? He did.
Week.
Okay.
I think limited snap count, but he played. Cornerback Chidobe Awuzie, who was with us for one season, and then we gifted him to the Titans. He was the best cornerback on our team, and then we just said, we'll give him to the Titans. We don't need to bring him back in.
Sure.
2021 cornerback Mike Hilton, who has been the best slot corner on our team, really one of the best edge rushers, if you think about it that way, when we bring in the corner blitz with Lou Anarumo's defense. But he got old, so we let him go, not worth trying to preserve like the veteran locker room. We'll just let him go. Defensive tackle Larry Okunjobi, 2021. Has made 0 impact plays since he's been there. Defensive tackle BJ Hill since 2021. He has been a welcome addition. Very good. So if anybody's counting, I'll finish. Safety Geno Stone, who has gotten exposed repeatedly since 2024 when he got here. After we let go of Von Bell. So we let Von Bell go because we didn't think he was doing a good job. We bring in Geno Stone from the Ravens. He's younger. He's supposed to be faster. He's been exposed repeatedly. He has not developed at all since he's been there. Has not added to back-end safety. Giving up explosive plays constantly. Missed tackles. Maybe it can be coached. Maybe he has the talent. It could be coached. He does have flashes in the pot, but holy shit, few and far between. Defensive tackle TJ Slayton signed from the Packers after we let DJ Reader go, who's one of our better defensive tackles. One of our more consistent sack leaders, really. So we let DJ Reader go. We say, hey, we'll bring in TJ Slayton. I don't know that he's played a fucking snap on the season. I haven't heard a goddamn thing from TJ Slayton. And finally, linebacker Oren Burks. We signed from the Eagles. Oren Burks maybe has not played.
Never heard of her.
We're going to get into this in about 2 minutes, but the fact that we have brought in the last 3 years, have brought in no corners, no veteran safeties outside of Geno Stone. But we have both drafted and signed, I think, 4 or 5 linebackers. When we have linebackers that play and play well, is fucking insane to me. So those are all that, and that's it, by the way. That's our entire free agency market on defense. Outside of Chidobe Awuzie and Trey Hendrickson, not a single big name splash on there. I mean, a couple impactful players. DJ Reader, impactful player. BJ Hill, impactful player on our team. Mike Hilton played well for us for a couple of years. But a guy who we failed to pay in Trey Hendrickson and had a lot of drama with in Trey Hendrickson contract talks, and who has produced for us, who's still on the team, and then Chidobe Awuzie, who had a 1-year run, and then we let him go at the weakest position that we have on our defense. We said he's not good enough to play cornerback in Cincinnati, or he's not worth the money. And we give up maybe the most big plays in the league. We give up a fuck ton of passing yards. We have one of the worst passing defenses in the league. It's insane. So that's our entirety of free agency on the defensive side. Now let's go to the draft. 2020, round 3, linebacker Logan Wilson. Good pickup, solid linebacker. He's in his prime right now, but we're benching him and for a rookie, and he's demanding a trade. Even though he was the captain of our defense last year, and I believe to start this year. He's not even a starter anymore. Defensive end Joseph Osai, once again, has played well. Does well. Has had no impact plays. Has not been able to make any impact plays. Because our interior line can't get the push that it needs. 2022 round 2, cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt. Maybe the single biggest mistake we have ever made is drafting Cam Taylor-Britt and continuing to pay him over and over and over again. There's no reason he should still be on the team. There's no reason he should be playing cornerback in the NFL. He should be a special teamer at best. He's a liability on the outside. He commits far too many penalties. He makes far too few plays. And he was getting touted around the last 2 years as if he was our premier pass defender. He's a fucking joke. Just like the secondary of the Cincinnati Bengals. Safety Dax Hill, 2022 round 1. First round safety. Injury issues. Gets banged up maybe every other week and has to come out for a couple plays. Maybe longer, but just does not seem like, has not been an impact player. Misses tackles, takes bad angles, has not made impact plays in crunch time of close games, which is what you need from safeties. Don't let anybody over the top, and once a year, just make an impact play in crunch time. Just do something that nobody expects, just one time a year. That's all I'm asking. That's not a lot to ask. Defensive end Miles Murphy, round 1, 2023 draft. No impact plays. Average at best. Serviceable backup. First round pick, though, wasted on Miles Murphy. Cornerback DJ Turner II, 2023 round 2. His rookie year was terrible. Last year was not much better. This year he's shown improvement in Al Golden's defense. He has shown improvement in Al Golden's defense. Maybe he's beginning to develop. But he will fail because he's a part of one of the weakest secondaries in the world. I mean, he's been making plays this year. I appreciate his efforts this year. He's a talent that we probably need to look at keeping. He's not a number 1 guy. He's not a lockdown corner. He's a guy who's going to move to safety halfway, 2/3 of the way through his career, and he'll be decent. He'll be a good player. But that's the pinnacle of his career. Defensive end or defensive tackle Chris Jenkins Jr., 2024 round 2. Where's he at? What is he doing for us? Nothing. Not a thing. Absolute waste of a pick. Defensive end Shamar Stewart, 2025 round 1, has already missed games due to injury, multiple games due to injury. Takes bad angles on tackles, cannot decipher offenses well enough. It's his rookie season. I'll give him a bit of grace. And I hate that phrase. Give him a bit of grace. But he's a talent that needs to be developed. He needs help. He needs a veteran to lead him. And people might say, oh, well, you got Trey Hendrickson. What incentive does Trey Hendrickson have? Because he doesn't even have a fucking contract. Why would he train the guy to replace him?
Yeah.
You either got to cut bait and run with the guy or sign him long term and get somebody in there who can show him like, hey, we need to develop your talent. Anyhow, I'll digress on Shamar Stewart for now, but he's a problem to start his career. It's not shaping out good. And lastly, on this draft side, linebackers Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight Jr. are two starting linebackers. Demetrius Knight has been phenomenal. He's been a tackling machine. Logan Wilson was a tackling machine, but they decided to replace him with Barrett Carter. I don't know if it was for speed or whatever, but you took the captain of our defense. You said, sit on the sideline and we're going to put the rook in. You can't do that. It's going to ruin the chemistry of the locker room. But you know what? The organization doesn't give a fuck. They said, fuck it all. We don't care. We're trying to change things up. We're trying to make it look like we're doing things, and we're not really doing anything, and it's fucking pitiful. Just an atrocity of draft picks. Demetrius Knight and DJ Turner are the only good ones in the last 3 years. The other two came from 2020. We're talking 5 years since we've made an impactful draft pick. 3 to 5 years since we made a single impactful draft pick. This is the entirety of our draft. These are all of the notable players, and some of them you've never heard of. Some of them Bengals fans have never heard of.
At that point, though, you guys had Burrow in the league, correct? You guys had Burrow on your team since 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the only opposite I could say to that, and it's not beneficial because other teams have done well, is at that point you guys didn't have great draft picks either because you had Joe Burrow and you had a high-flying offense to go with it. So it's not like you had...
In the NFL draft, the first five rounds are gold.
Yeah, I guess no matter who you get, yeah, that's fair.
There's supposed to be somebody there, and we've repeatedly been unable to identify talent.
Yeah.
It's a pitiful free agency showing too. Absolutely pitiful.
No, I agree with that.
Draft has not been much better. And I'm going to round it out here with other notable transactions that the Bengals have made over the past couple of years. That this is not defensive focused, but just other notable transactions. We talked about Mike Hilton terminated his contract, right? One of our better nickel defenders, a good cornerback in the league, a great veteran presence, just terminated his contract. He didn't have anywhere to go. He wasn't asking for a ton of money. We just said, you're not good enough to play here anymore. People we have given contracts to that don't deserve them and aren't good players. Offensive lineman Cody Ford, most notably known for his infidelity and his wife on TikTok. That my wife shows me the fucking TikToks when we go to bed. I mean, he gets fucking run on when he enters the game. Can't play tackle or guard to save his fucking life. Somehow is getting contracts from the Bengals. Zach Moss. Dude, does anybody remember Zach Moss? Not
a little bit.
Not Bill Zach Moss. We're talking about post Colts Zach Moss. Same Zach Moss, but he went from the Bills to the Colts. He had like a good run, and like, what are we running, a fantasy organization where a guy puts up a couple of big weeks and then we're giving up the farm for him? That's what we're doing here. That's what Duke Tobin, Zach Taylor, and Mike Brown are running in our front office, is fucking like a fucking fantasy team where they're like, oh, we'll go get Zach Moss. He's putting up 30 points a week for 2 weeks. Let's go trade for that fucking guy. Guess what? He was on our roster for that season, and then the next season, then he got immediately put on like permanent reserve IR and fucking is never going to play in the league again. That's Zach Moss. Glad we spent money on him. Hey, Jermaine Pratt terminated his contract. Just said, hey, you've been playing linebacker for us for about 3 years. You've been good. You and Logan Wilson have been doing a bang up job. You've been rallying tackles. You've been corralling guys. You've been good in the middle of the field. We're going to let you go. No reason. We're just going to let you go. And now he's recently signed with the Indianapolis Colts and his former coach, Leonard Rumo. So glad that happened. We'll see how he does there. Hopefully, I wish him all the best. I hope he does fantastic. So I just have another data point to point to and say, this is how good our talent scouting is, that we're just letting these guys walk away. Signed another linebacker. So I told you we've brought in 90 fucking linebackers as we had a good linebacking core, and we're like, well, let's bring in like 5-6 more guys. Ask me if you've ever heard of this guy. We gave a contract to free agent Joe Giles Harris.
No.
Doesn't it sounds like a made up NHL creative player? It is
a made up name, yeah.
Joe Giles Harris. We gave that guy money to play linebacker for us. Signed. Here's another one. Signed cornerback Marco Wilson. Marco Wilson.
Was he like a soccer player before?
I've
never heard of this guy. I'm making a joke at this point.
Yeah, I think he came from. Hey, Wrigley's Believe It or Not, because I don't even believe he's a real person. It's fucking terrible. And let us not forget last year when we were making the biggest splash of all time in Cincinnati. Oh, yes, we finally made an in-season trade for a player. Oh, who could it be? Could it be a safety to reinforce the back end, not give up big plays? Could it be a cornerback? We could finally have a lockdown corner. Are we bringing in another elite pass rusher to pair with Trey Hendrickson so we could, like, so our secondary doesn't have as much pressure on it? Are we bringing in a star offensive lineman? No. Hey, guess who? Guess who? Knock, knock. Oh, hey, who's there? Oh, Khalil Herbert. Nice to see you, bud. We got Chase Brown. We have a contract too, and he's supposed to be the star of our team, but hey, nice. We'll bring in Khalil Herbert. Get a nice third down change of pace back in here. We let Joe Mixon walk away because we didn't want to pay him. He went to the Texans. After his best career year, we just were like, go to the Texans, you old fucker. No big deal. But hey, the fucking fans should be getting down, kissing our dirty toenails because we brought in Khalil Herbert from the Bears. Holy fuck, dude. He wasn't even the Bears starting running back. He wasn't even a starter. He was like a split back in like a three-back team, on like a three-back team. But they were like, oh, this guy looked kind of good at like swing passes, so we'll run a bunch of screens for him. Hey, no, how about we just leave him sit on the bench and don't play him at all? We'll bring him in like once every 49 plays.
I honestly didn't know he was on your team.
And then we'll cut him. And then we'll just not have him on our team after the season. Hey, Khalil Herbert. Remember, though, that was like breaking like a 15-year streak of not signing it or not making an in-season move. Thank God we did that, huh? And this is the biggest atrocity, all right? This is the number one thing that fucking grinds my fucking gears. Oh. Hey, we have T. Higgins. We have Jamar Chase. We have Chase Brown back here. We have Mike Gesicki. Hey, you know who else we have besides Mike Gesicki? Just in case he can't play, we're just going to bring in Noah Fant. Shouldn't be a problem, though. We'll sign another tight end. Hey, maybe there should be NFL. Listen to me here, NFL. Limit the amount of a specific position group that people can fucking sign on their team because the Bengals have far too many tight ends. Let me name them all for you. Mike Gesicki signed a contract extension. Hey, guess who else we signed? Tanner Hudson signed a contract extension. Let's bring in Noah Fant. Hey, you guys remember Drew Sample? You remember Eric All Jr.? Those guys are on the active roster. We have 5 tight ends on our active roster. I mean, some of those guys are on IR now, but they weren't at the fucking time. We're not talking about practice squad tight ends. We're talking about 5 tight ends on our active roster. We have 0 corners that can cover a slice of bread with cheese, and we have five tight ends. I mean, holy fucking shit. How much money are we spending on tight ends that we don't even throw the ball to? Noah Fant, National Tight End Day, he they threw him a bone this week, but holy shit. I mean, we throw the tight ends like once every 4 plays, and we have 2 elite receivers. I mean, T. Higgins isn't getting a lot of work. Let's just toss him at the tight end position. He's fucking big, dude. Who gives a shit? When you have 2 elite receivers, we don't need 5 tight ends.
Yeah.
All right. Anyhow, all this to say, I'm ashamed to be a Bengals fan today. The Bengals lost to the worst team in the league. Our season is officially stamped as over by me. If we do make the playoffs, I will be rooting for them and I will be excited again. You will see me happy again if we pull off, like, it's going to take like 3 straight wins. You're going to have to rip off 3 wins and I'll get excited about it. But until then, I'm going to be pretty Debbie Downer. I'll be, happy if they win, rooting for them because I'm a fucking sucker. I'm a sap. I'm in love with them and they don't love me back. It's the one that you let go and you just always think about for the rest of your life. Duke Tobin, the de facto general manager, the director of player personnel, Zach Taylor, the head coach and offensive play caller, Mike Brown, the owner and president of football operations for the team, all need to be fired, replaced. Mike Brown needs to step back and just be a silent owner and allow somebody else to be president of football operations. Zach Taylor needs to be fired and possibly burned at the stake for what he's done. And Duke Tobin just needs to maybe vanish. He needs to get Thanos snapped out of life. I need him to disappear forever and never want to hear his name again. He sounds like a fucking idiot. He has a dumb name. His family is dumb. I hope his kids are ugly and they never get married. And you know, Zach Taylor, I hope he gets a job coaching high school football after this, because holy shit, you've ruined the Cincinnati Bengals. You have ruined Joe Burrow's career. You are wasting Jamar Chase's prime, T. Higgins' prime. I have nothing else to say about this organization. I do digress. This is an absolutely shameful loss. Congratulations to the Jets. I'm glad that you're not going to go 0-16 and be in the history books with the Browns and the Lions.
Yeah, just a couple notes. Obviously, Breece Hall goes off. Justin Fields, Joe Flacco played a decent game too. That's what's disappointing about this.
Our offense, except for the very last drive of the game, our offense was phenomenal. Some would say unstoppable. The very last drive of the game, the play calling was horrible. The plays didn't make any fucking sense. What Zach Taylor was calling, I have no idea. Joe Flacco should have just ran his own 2-minute offense. We would have been fine. We just needed a field goal to fucking win the game. Outside of that, the time management was once again horrible. It was obvious. And when I mean obvious, it was obvious. We have not been able to stop the Jets all day on defense. The Jets were driving. There was 5 minutes left in the game, and Zach Taylor kept letting the clock wind down, I think hoping that the Jets weren't going to go for it every fourth down, even though fucking Jesus Christ, they have to score a touchdown to win the game to even tie. They can't tie with a field goal. They were going to have to, there's 4 downs. He was relying on the defense that he knows is weak, that everybody knows is weak. They got exposed this week. And it was just a matter of time before they got exposed. But the piss poor time management, 3 timeouts left, 5 minutes to go. The Jets have the ball. We get the ball back with like under 2 minutes left. We end the game with 2 out of our 3 timeouts. So there wasn't a lot of time and care put into the play calling. We should have done the pre 2-minute warning timeouts and fucking just let the Jets score and given ourselves more time so that we weren't rushing. And we could be a little bit more unpredictable with our play calling. But no, can't do that. The time management was horrific. Whoever's doing that, they report it, whether it was Zach Taylor or not, that person reports to Zach Taylor, whoever is managing the game, and Zach Taylor manages the offense during the game. So he is responsible for the offense personally, and he's responsible for the defense because he's where the buck stops as far as play on the field is concerned. He needs to be removed from the head coaching position. He needs to be fired, and we need to replace him ASAP.
So you're obviously upset about a lot. What hurts the most? We're going to put aside a lot of what you just talked about. Does it hurt the most that you lost to the Jets, or does it hurt the most that you lost to the Jets because Breece Hall threw a touchdown that shouldn't have even happened to begin with?
What hurts the most from this game for me, I think, is the fact that we had the game won. Mm-hmm. And the team. Sometimes you just have to be real with yourself, you know? And I'll say it's like going on a dating app, right? Like, I don't have a lot of experience with this, but if you're going on a dating app and you're like swiping left, swiping right, like if you're being honest with yourself, you kind of know who you should be swiping on, who you shouldn't be swiping on. You know what I mean? Like, you know, kind of where your range is, you know? Are you like a 4 or 5 guy? Are you like a 8-9 guy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to set the expectation for yourself of what you're able to acquire. The Bengals know, I say all that to say this, the Bengals know they're not a great team right now. They know that they have to score points to win. They know that they need to prevent teams from scoring touchdowns to win games. They were up in the game by multiple scores in the fourth quarter, And all they have to do is play the game they had played to that point. You don't go into prevent defense. If you're playing, you play defense the way you've played the entire game. You can't play the situation like that and change that, relax, get back on your heels, allow them to gain momentum and be the aggressor into you. And I think that the way that the game was handled from a defensive perspective was unacceptable. The fact that they allowed the Jets to march down the field basically at will and score as they wanted and manage the clock as they wanted and play at their own tempo, and they were unable to generate any type of pass rush, unable to generate a ton of incomplete passes, unable to keep guys in bounds to run the clock, unable to keep a team out of the end zone. When you knew in the second half of that fourth quarter, when you're up by 14 points, 16 points, whatever it is, you know what you have to do. The goal is there. And you sit back and you play the game differently because of that, and you lose because of that. You see it time and time again where teams will go into this two-man shell, don't let anybody over the top of us defense, and then they just take the underneath routes over and over and over again. They get close and they're able to score because there's larger gaps in your defense, right? There's just more places to put the ball. There's more things that you can do. And time, the Jets had all the time in the world. It wasn't like we were like playing under 2 minutes and we just needed to stop them from scoring in the next 90 seconds. They had 5-6 minutes to do this. So it's and 3 timeouts. This wasn't a time consideration thing. So they played as if there was 30 seconds left in the game when there were 6 minutes left in the game. And that's the most disappointing thing, is the switch up there, the style of play that they played, the way that they let up and allowed the Jets to get back into the game and win the game is the most disappointing thing for me.
Not to add fuel to your fire, but I did some quick math as you were going there. Now, keep in mind, obviously, anybody that understands football, talent is a big factor in these numbers I'm about to put out. But I do want to say that the quick math is right now, Luann's team has allowed 154 points through 8 games this season. You guys have allowed 253 points through 8 games in the season. And just to kind of put it out there with like, well, it is talent, it is this. We obviously, you guys lost some players this offseason, whatever the case may be. Last season, through 8 games, you only gave up 203 versus the 253. I also did bring up the schedule. Last season, you guys had the Chiefs as a part of that. You had the high-flying Commanders as a part of that. You had a very tough divisional game, but also a very potent offense in the Ravens as a part of that. And you had the Super Bowl winners who were blowing people's doors off last year. The Eagles as a part of that 203 points. You guys stopped the teams you should have, which was the Browns, the Giants, stuff like that. I didn't like the guy, but that's because he beat up on the Chiefs a little bit. But to be fair, I think the start of it was letting him go and then everybody else kind of walking in between.
Yeah, I mean, I've touched on this during the other Bengals losses in our episodes, but I just don't think that the team morale is there. I don't think we have any leadership people in like a coaching position that have any type of like leadership ability to rally the guys. I think it's all being put on the players right now. Zach Taylor puts it on the players too. He says, he comes out in a press conference, says he needs a guy to step up. He needs someone to step up and be a leader. It's like that's based on you, big guy. How you empower your team is how they will, be empowered. So if you're not, showing that type of leadership and empowering your guys to want to be leaders, and you're just sitting back and waiting for them to do it themselves, that's not their job. That's your job. You're getting paid a lot of money to do that job, and you're not putting your body on the line. So wake the fuck up and start being a real head coach. Hopefully for the Cypress Valley Pigeons in Southwest Mississippi high school 3rd district, because you shouldn't be in the NFL, bud.
Or maybe at a Wendy's or something. But, Rough. We'll move on. I'll make mine pretty quick. We look good. Not going to lie. They had us in the first half. All players have said they had way more energy than us. They had nothing to lose at that point with Marcus Mariota and multiple other injuries on their team, including that defense. The defense held us to 7 in the first half.
It was tied going into halftime, right? You shut them out for 3 quarters.
It was 7-7 going into half, and then I guess in that locker room must have been a buzzing because we came out and dominated the whole rest of this game. Mahomes went from like 35 yards to where did he finish here? 299 yards, 3 touchdowns because he didn't get one of the first quarter or the first half touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks. One of them was a bounce off of Travis Kelce. Did not like that at all. Travis has to get that together, but at the same time, Travis Kelce also had 6 receptions for 99 yards and a touchdown to kind of make up for that fuck up. The other one, a lot of talks of Marshawn Lattimore not doing well and stuff like that. I mean, that interception was all him. It was somewhat of a bad throw by Mahomes. He shouldn't have thrown when I forget who it was to. Might have been Rice or Hollywood or one of them. I don't know.
That's his whole brand, dude. Mahomes'
It is his brand.
Making throws that he's not supposed to make. And
the upsetting thing, the only upsetting part of that was up until this point, up until this game, he had thrown 2 interceptions all year, and then he threw 2 in the first fucking half. So it was rough, but our defense rallied around because Mariota was starting to scare me a little bit there. I was having flashbacks of him throwing a touchdown to himself when he was a Titan and eliminating us from the playoffs. Pacheco had some flash that I enjoyed. But overall, good game. I don't want to talk too much about this because this is what it should have been, especially without Jane Daniels. And even with Jane Daniels, this team has not looked like they did last year. What I'm looking forward to is what's coming up for us. So we have the Bills coming up. I'm a little worried only because Bills kind of have us in the regular season, but they look like a shell of the team that they used to be. I would like to win this game, and then we go into our bye week. So then we get to get healthy. We get to get everybody rested. And then we have a pretty tough slate of games in the next 3, which is the Broncos. And it's in Denver, which I would love to just go in and demolish them. Then we have the Colts coming to us, and then we go to Dallas for the Cowboys. So if Cowboys could figure out their fucking defense, if they could just become an average defense, the Cowboys could start running the table as well. And then a bunch of divisional games. And then our really only give me, as long as we don't go in playing dumb, is the Titans. Outside of that, it's a lot of divisional. And then Texans and the games I just mentioned. So it's going to be tough sledding from here on out. And we really kind of need to win out, in my opinion, because we are a team that enjoys that bye week. We enjoy first place. And as of right now, we're not even close. Beating the Colts will help. Beating the Chargers the second time, beating the Broncos twice is going to be a major factor for us. The Raiders aren't a give me, even though that is it's the last game of the season. And if there's nothing to play for, we lose that game anyways because we'll sit everybody. Well, maybe we beat them because they look awful this year. But overall, happy. It was I saw great things, and the team is having fun, and that's what I'm enjoying about the Chiefs right now. The Chiefs are a dangerous fucking team when they're having fun, and they're having fun on all sides of the ball except for number 43. His only saving grace, Cochran, or whatever the fuck his name is, his only saving grace, he got that second interception late in the game to just go ahead and end it because it was obviously over, but it was immediately over at that point. This dude just loves to hold people on kick returns, and I don't get it. Nico Remigio or Rico, I don't even know his first fucking name. It's something Eco Remigio is not a great kick returner, but he's not a terrible kick returner. And this motherfucker flies up and, a point of emphasis that has nothing to do. This guy was not going to tackle Remigio, but this 43 keeps fucking holding. It's like his 5th penalty in 2 weeks for holding. Realistically, if you ask me, he's got to go. Just cut him off the fucking team and elevate somebody from the practice squad. But that interception might have saved his job. So good for him. I'm looking forward to what's coming. This, again, with the injuries and the way the team's playing right now, this was a game that should have gone this way. And honestly, in that first half, it wasn't looking like it. But glad they turned around in the second half, and I look forward to this game against the Bills. Yeah, very excited. I really do think if we go in winning the next two, the NFL should flex the Chiefs-Colts game because that could be a good one going into the Colts.
Yeah, for sure. I would put it in primetime now anyway.
It's a 1:00 game as of right now.
I don't know what's scheduled for primetime that week, but
yeah.
Probably isn't that great. The one thing I'll say about this game is obviously you don't have Jaden Daniels. Your receiving core is dog shit. Your defense isn't playing to the level they were last year. If you're the Commanders, you got to really reassess the team. You need to be retooled. You need to pick up a couple of other defensive weapons. Maybe let Marshawn Lattimore go because he's aging. I don't know how much you want to absorb of his contract or whatever, or blah, 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 business side. You need to pick a running back. I mean, Marcus Mariota was your leading rusher. This is going to hinge back to the running game. We've been talking about it all night, and we'll continue to talk about it in the future. But, if Marcus Mariota is your leading rusher with 28 yards, you're not going to win the game. You have whenever you see a third down back as your leading receiver and Jeremy McNichols, who's been typically just kind of like a swing back or a scat back, 5 receptions for 64 yards, and that's your leading running back, and he's outperforming Terry McLaurin, who's your contract guy, your star receiver in the receiving game. That's just never a good thing. Got a lot of stuff to clean up. I don't think that I don't think the Commanders are a playoff team anymore this year. I don't know that they can get it together in time to do that and also compete with the Eagles. If they do get a second team in, it's going to depend on what Dallas does as well. But it's going to be tough for the Commanders to do anything. I mean, maybe Jaden comes back. They're all healthy. If McLaurin and Debo start playing well, if Bill Krusky-Merrick can step up his game. I mean, it's a lot of things that need to happen. It's akin to the Bengals situation where it's a lot of stuff that you need to happen. And I think that this year was just the burden of expectations coming down on them. It's much easier to play without the burden of expectation. As much as I am not a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, I will give them the credit that they have played with the burden of expectation for the last 5 years and met or exceeded that in generally every situation. And it's not for everybody. Pressure makes diamonds. Sometimes it takes a little while, so maybe the Commanders just need a little bit more time to get, leaned on to have those expectations. But it's not even just in sports, it's in life. Whenever there's high expectations, high pressure, sometimes you just can't perform to that. So
I will say too, Laramie Tunsil goes out that game multiple times, and then eventually he was out for the rest of the game. They had a lot of defensive-sided injuries that weren't helping them, some bad plays. There was a couple guys that were making some insane plays from their defensive line, I think, or linebacker core. One thing I could say is about their season is I saw some highlights last night that I have hope if I'm a Commanders fan, especially the way the NFC kind of plays out sometimes.
I'm not saying they give up. I'm just saying this year I don't think it's a realistic expectation. I don't think you make it back to the championship.
I agree.
Like you did last year.
I agree with that, but I think we got to remember too with some of the injuries that are there, especially notably McLaurin. McLaurin has not been. There was a lot of this contract talk over the offseason, and he's not a true number one. There was a lot of talk about is he worth the money? But I saw some great things from him last night.
See, yeah, he can play
with
great.
Marcus Mariota thrown to him.
I don't think he has the size. He doesn't have the size to be a number one right now at this point in his career, right? So 2 years ago,
I can see that, but he makes some he makes some crazy
make catches, but you have to if you're as old as he is, right? And especially if you're going to hold out contractually. He obviously did not come in ready to play. That's tough. It's tough. I think that's going to be. I think history will look back on that contract as a mistake by the Commanders, regardless of how he plays or whatever. I just think at the point in his career that he's at, the amount of money they had to give him, the resources that they're expending on him, and the game that he has in particular doesn't really just match up. I think he's a valuable receiver. I think he can be a number one on a team with an elite running game. I think he's more akin to a 1A type receiver or, second option on a team with a true number one receiver. He could be the guy who has the stats, but isn't the focus of a defense guy. I just don't think he's where he should be. You see the catches, right? And you see that he has the ability to be that, but he's not living up to it. So there's a difference between having the talent and, putting in the effort and actually, performing to a degree that is, worth basically the shitstorm that you put up. I would say Trey Hendrickson's in the same boat right now. He put up the shitstorm because of his stats last year, but like this year, now that he, got this like upfront money or whatever, this 1 year money. I know he's been out for a couple games, but even the games he's been in, he's just it's not performing well, not performing to the level that he needs to.
A couple noticeable things. I completely forgot to talk about this. I'm going to kind of show the camera here. This was absolutely diabolical from you guys. And honestly, this right here was the reason you probably lost to the fucking Jets, because that's fucking crazy. 24 hours to kickoff and you're just flying a jet right into New York there. Kind of fucking wild from you guys. This was an official post from the Bengals Twitter.
That's tough, dude. I'm glad we lost then. That's disrespectful.
And then speaking of the Jets themselves, I remember this guy's name and I do remember his face. And I believe he's up for a Hall of Fame vote, but Nick Mangold
passed away.
Died very young too, which is concerning, from kidney disease. So that's sad. And T's and P's out to the people of the Jets community. In baseball, World Series is going on right now. I'm not a baseball guy because like a lot of other sports outside of the NFL, there's way too many fucking games. And I have no allegiance to any team. But there have been only 2 18-plus inning games in World Series history, and Brad Paisley played the national anthem at both of those. So just as a little factoid there.
Is that a conspiracy?
If you're in a bonus league and you get bonuses for 200-plus scrimmage yards, James Cook got over 1,000 points in fantasy for you this week. A little insane.
That is nutty.
And then other than that, big thing from Kansas City too. One of the highlights that was kind of cool to see, Travis Kelce ties the record for most touchdowns in Kansas City with Priest Holmes, an absolute fucking legend and dog that used to play for Kansas City. So it's really cool to see. Chances are he obviously probably breaks that this year. He himself thought he would never even get there. He was happy to break Tony's and then thought Priest Holmes was out of reach. So he's still got a little fight left in him. Outside that, as I said, Patrick Surtain goes down. That sucks. Laramie Tunsil goes down. That sucks. One meme I saw out of the Chiefs game that was hilarious. It was actually a tweet. Just your normal 13-play, 119-yard touchdown drive by the Chiefs. There at the end of the game because we had negative 25 yards and fucking penalties. So 119 yards down the field, probably pretty rare. Tyler Shaw, whatever his name is, now the starter of the Saints. People have been reaching out for Kayvon Thibodeau. Giants said, absolutely not. We're not building up this defense to tear it down. Isaiah Pacheco gets injured in last night's game. He looked like he was good to go, but apparently he is week to week with an MCL sprain. Outside of that, Jaden Daniels back in practice. Again, we'll see what happens there. Lamar Jackson back. There's some like Patriots shit going on. They're signing some guys. They also traded a defensive end to the 49ers. No name guy. And that's about it. And Steelers good, kind of good for you, I guess. They're placing safety Deshaun Elliott on injured reserve, and getting Duggar from the Patriots. So a little bit of news there for you. Let's get into these picks this week.
I was about to say, are you ready for fucking picks, dude?
I am.
It's getting late here my kid was up all night last night and I'm working my way to the bedroom right now.
Rough. We start off with a weird one Thursday night. This could be a doozy, especially with Lamar back. The Ravens are going to go into Miami. If I'm not mistaken, this is a game that happens kind of often. It's almost like the Bills and the Chiefs. Like it's almost inevitable. Ravens pretty much go down there and demolish the Dolphins, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it the opposite last year? I think this is one of the ones where the Ravens got slapped.
I don't know, dude.
Could be wrong. But this time, the Ravens are favored by 7.5. I'm going to take the Ravens. Over-unders at 50.5. I am going to take the under on this. I think Lamar coming back and the Dolphins don't do what they did this week.
I'm taking the Dolphins. Hate the Ravens. That's going to bite me in the ass so hard, dude. Hey, you fucking pick against the Chargers.
I will do it. I'll pick against them and the Broncos.
So yeah, I'll take the Dolphins. I'll take the under. I don't think if it goes over that the Dolphins have a shot of winning. But yeah.
Falcons at Patriots. I don't know Penix's status. Patriots are favored by 5.5. Over under 45.5. I think Patriots easily take this no matter who's starting their quarterback.
Oh yeah, I'm taking that as well.
And I'll take the over in this one.
45
if
and a half?
Penix starts, yeah, 45. If Penix is there and they can establish Bijan, I can see this going over 4. That's 22 points a team. So
I'll take the over.
Panthers at Packers. Packers favored by 12.5. Over under 44.5. I'm gonna take over in Packers. I think over just because Packers could run this fucking score up.
I'll take under in pack.
Okay.
Under in pack.
Broncos at Texans. Texans are favored by 1.5. Love to see that. Hopefully we're on back to the sportsbook side, and the over-under is 39.5. I could see it. God, that's a low score game, but
Super low. It's because their defenses are both so like vaunted.
yeah, let's go ahead and go the under, and obviously taking the Texans here.
The under. I'm going to take the over, and I'm also taking the Texans because as much as I'd like to pick up a game on you here, I do fucking hate the Broncos.
Yeah, fuck them. Chargers at Titans. Chargers favored by 9.5. Over under 43.5. I'm going to take the over, and unfortunately, I'm going to take the Chargers. I just can't go against them in this one because I'm going to try to keep this lead on you.
Yeah, I'm taking
Titans just suck. You can't take anybody against the Titans right now, or Titans against anybody.
Yeah,
rather.
you definitely can't take maybe the Jets. They probably
Maybe
wouldn't.
the Jets.
They probably wouldn't blow a 20-point lead against the Jets. Not a big deal. Yep, same as you.
Bears at Bengals. Bears favored by 2.5. Over under is 51.5. I think the embarrassment changes things for you guys, and I think the Bears are starting to go through a downfall right now. So I'm actually going to take the Bengals, and I'm going to take the over in this because I think it could be a high-scoring game with two not-so-good defenses.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals as well, just because I'm a dumbass fan who's never going to not take the Bengals, and I'll take whatever the over is.
Colts at Steelers. Colts are favored by 3. Over under is 50.5. I could actually see this one going under, but I'm taking the Colts to go ahead and make it 8-1 on the season.
Yeah, I'll take the Colts as well, and I'll take the over. Whatever the over is, the Colts are probably going to put up 40.
Niners at Giants. Niners are favored by 2.5. Over under is 48.5. I'm going to take the under on this, and I'm going to take the Niners. I think the Giants are going to start looking pretty bad here without Scabadoo.
I don't think we talked about that at either, like enough, but fuck, dude. I hate the Niners.
Yeah, he wasn't putting up massive numbers, but he was somebody you had to worry about. Period.
I hate the Niners so much, dude. I'm taking the Niners as well.
Okay. Vikings at Lions. Lions are favored by 8.5. Over under is 48.5. I see this one going over easily, and I'm going to take the Lions. No brainer there.
Ooh, is this a trap? This might be a trap game for the Lions.
They don't have a quarterback on the Vikings.
I'm calling that early as that it's a trap game for the Lions, but I'm going to take the Lions and the over. They might score 50.
Saints at the Rams. Rams are favored by 14.5. Over under is 43.5. Rams are coming off a bye, so they should be healthy. Saints might score a few points with a new quarterback, but they do suck. Easily taking the Rams, but I'm going to take the over in this.
Yeah, I'll take the Rams and the over. I think the Saints can score points. I just don't think they can win games.
Correct. Jags at Raiders. Jags are favored by 3. Over under is 44.5. I could see this going under because both of these teams are dog shit, and I'm going to take the Jags.
Taking the Jags in 43.5 or 43 flat?
44.5.
Oh. Yeah, I'll take under as well. Jags.
Chiefs at Bills. Chiefs, surprisingly, are favored in this at 1.5. Over under is 52.5. That's a large number. I'm definitely taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was saying, I'm guessing you're just pondering whether you're going to take the over or the under, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to take the over. I think I'm going to take the Chiefs, obviously, because it's my team, but also I think this year the Bills don't get their regular season Super Bowl finally. I think it's going to happen.
I'm going to take the Bills because I need to make up some ground on you, and I'll take the under.
History says you might be right, but
I think right now with the momentum that the Chiefs have, I think that they should be favored in this game. And I actually think they're the better team. Genuinely, I definitely think they have the better defense. But I'm just going to hope that James Cook has another big game. Their running game is really good. And I hope that they don't have to I hope Josh Allen doesn't have to throw for 400 yards to win the game, but we'll see.
Turn off the game if James Cook starts going off like he did last week. Seattle at Commanders. Seattle is favored by 3.5. Over under is 46.5.
I have no
I'm going
reason
to take
to
the Commanders.
I'm going to take the Seahawks. I just don't think that the Seahawks are slowing down. Josh Darnold is making a case for MVP as well, which we didn't get to talk about, but I think he's a dark horse. If the Seahawks slip into the 2-ish seed, which they definitely could. But yeah,
I think they look good, but I think Jaden Daniels coming back and some highlights from last week. Tunsil will decide too. Tunsil's a big name.
Every time I see the Seahawks, or every time I see them in a game, I'm like, they're not going to win this, and they just keep winning. So it's just one of those things where it's you bet against them enough, you get burned enough times, you're going to bet for them one time, and I'm just going to take Seattle in this game.
Yeah, I got the Commanders. Cardinals at Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 3. Over under is 53.5.
This is a terrible Monday night game, by the way.
I agree, but I'm going to take the boys to have a big bounce back. And defenses are terrible. Cowboys could put up 44 points themselves. They've done it. I'll take the over. Fuck it.
I'm going to take the Cowboys in the under. The only reason that I'm taking the Cowboys is because the Cardinals are offensively deficient. I just don't think they haven't been able to get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. Their running game is kind of who knows, because they have so many players on IR. I just don't think that they can make it work as they are now. So taking the Cowboys.
That will do it for us this week. See if we see a different week this week. A lot of blowouts this week. A lot of crazy ass things that happen. Refs are still fucking horrendous. And Bengals need to figure their shit out. Big move to try to stay relevant to get Joe Burrow back.
My heart can only take so much. We're going to need to beat teams that we're not supposed to beat, and I don't know if we have the ability to do that.
I agree. Hey, hope for the best. We'll see you next week. I appreciate everybody. If you made it this far, you're a fucking true champion. Long episode this week, but lot to talk about, as always.
Yeah, see you after the next week's games. Everybody, God bless you and your football teams outside of the state of Pennsylvania and the city of Chicago this week.
There we go. All right. That's it. Goodbye.
Bye.